I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 60 of Tales from Godric's Hollow, the #1 Harry Potter podcast recorded in the past, which you're listening to in the future of when we're recording this, farther in the future than normal, because we're recording this on a Thursday. You won't hear it until next week. It's very confusing, but I promise, other than this weird intro, everything will be the same. I am one of your hosts. I am the muggle of the show. I am in vacation mode. I am Josh Brown. I am joined, as always, by the only professor not to be reviewed by Dolores Umbridge yet, Matt Sonnenberg. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Josh.
How are you?
I'm good. We don't allow that toad into our classroom.
I don't think you would have a choice in the matter.
I'll go on vacation.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm out. Yeah, this is weird. We just recorded a couple days ago. The newest episode just released yesterday. People won't be hearing this until next Wednesday, so it's not going to be any different for them. But it's definitely weird for us.
Definitely weird.
Yeah. I'm going on vacation. I'm going camping. I'm going to a place where there's going to be limited to no cell phone service, which sounds scary until you realize that unplugging is necessary every once in a while.
We used to do that. Would do it that way all the time.
Yeah.
That's how family vacations used to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cell phones weren't a thing when I was growing up.
Right. Yeah. But now, I mean, we're just so connected to everything. We're connected to social media, we're connected to our work emails, and we're connected to text messages and everything else. Like, my phone's going to be there as just, like, it'll show me what time it is. Just for the sake of knowing what time it is, and that's about it.
Do you wear a watch?
I have my Apple Watch, and I was already contemplating just leaving it at home.
Yeah.
You know? Because I don't want to take a charger for it just so I could have a watch while I'm camping. Like, that's ridiculous. Especially a watch that's specifically connected to your phone.
Yeah. Which won't really do much.
Right. So, yeah, it's going to be good. We are going up north to northern
Washington?
Washington, yeah.
Where they talk like Canadians, eh?
Closer and closer to Canada. Not that close.
Well, you have to note accents, see if you notice a change.
I will definitely do that. My main goal, however, Matt, is to get as far away from Oregon as possible.
The land of no sales tax? Why would you want to do that?
I don't know if you guys pay attention up there in northern Wisconsin to big global events such as the Total Eclipse 2017.
Okay.
But that's happening on Monday.
Yeah. Does that go over to Oregon?
The very first place anyone in the United States will see the total eclipse is Lincoln City, Oregon, which is an hour and a half drive from where I live right now.
Okay.
The state of Oregon is anticipating several million people.
I was going to say,
coming
the
to
hotels
the state.
are loving it.
Oh, they several months ago, every campsite and hotel near Lincoln City wiped their books clean of any reservations they had and jacked up the prices like 10 times.
Yep.
But like the Department of Travel in Oregon they're anticipating several million people coming to the state, and like they've already released a map of like the highway systems.
Okay.
It's going to be gridlocked all day. Yeah. I mean, people are already showing up now and parking on the side of the highways and picking their vantage points, which is super illegal. You can't just park on the side of the highway and camp. So it's already a mess, traffic-wise, and it's going to get increasingly worse through this weekend. Come Monday, when the eclipse happens, which let me just tell you this right now. I don't know if you know this about the Pacific Northwest, especially the coastal part of the Pacific Northwest. We tend to have some clouds.
Yeah.
I'm going to be guessing that it's going to be a cloudy day come eclipse day. And these millions and millions of people that are flocking from all over are going to be sorely disappointed, Matt.
Well, okay, if the people, anyone that's traveling out there that far,
yeah,
I'm guessing many of them are going to be chasing it.
And that's where they're going to run into problems. Because it's just going to be deadlocked. Like, no cars are going to be moving.
I think that's their plan, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, people are going to try, but they're going to fail.
It's not going to work, yeah.
So, like, there's, this narrow swath of United States that the quote-unquote 100% total eclipse is happening on.
Yeah, I mean, it's something like 70 miles wide, but when you think about how big the U.S. is, it's not very wide.
And it's going from the coast of Oregon down to Virginia, I think. I don't know. It's going all the way across the continental United States.
Yeah, I think it goes out to, South Carolina. My brother's real close to it, I know.
Okay. So, I mean, if you're in that, total eclipse zone, that's pretty cool. You know, last time it happened was 40 years ago. Whatever. People are making a big deal out of it. I'm going to be just a couple 100 miles north of that, camping, and there's not going to be anybody around. And I'm going to be in, 98% total eclipse zone.
Mm-hmm.
That's good enough for me.
And that's what my dad said. He thought about it. He was going to go visit my sister in Iowa. I think somewhere in Iowa is going to get 100%.
Yeah.
And, then he looked at the map again and it's yeah, we can get, 85% from home. We'll stay here.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to notice that much of a difference.
No.
You will notice it getting dark.
Sure.
And that's, all you're going to be there for anyway. You want to see it get dark. Okay,
right.
Cool. Go in a cave.
And the thing is, there's going to be, everybody's going to have, their professional photos and everything. We'll all be able to see it after it happens, thanks to the internet, you know?
Well, and that's the thing. It's there are going to be people out there and companies out there who are going to take better pictures than you'll ever be able to.
Right. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing, Matt. Yeah.
Avoiding the eclipse. Got it.
No. Avoiding the crazies that are going to be ruining the eclipse moment for other people.
Yep.
I'm going to be seeing it from my own vantage point, camping, unplugged, doing my own thing, enjoying a Monday morning with the kids in the campground, probably making some pancakes, doing nothing.
So when the world ends, you'll never know about it.
Yeah. Whatever, it'll be it. It's fine.
Yep.
I feel like this would be a good topic to talk about in an astronomy class at Hogwarts. If only they had such a thing, Matt.
Yeah.
If only they had such a thing. First, they need
to hire a professor. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We need to get on that.
We'll see what we can do.
Yeah. This is episode 60, folks, of Tales from Godric's Hollow. We are covering chapters 20 and 21 of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I will say this right now, as I always do. I apologize in advance for the change in volume of my voice later on as we progress through things. For those that have seen the show notes, which you can get if you support us on Patreon, I use a lot of shouty capitals. There's a lot of strong words I used in my notes this week, Matt.
Yep.
There's just this is why this book is killing me right now. I'm starting to pinpoint all the exact reasons why this book is just killing me.
Yeah.
Every little moment that the book gives me to enjoy and just soak in and absorb the goodness from, it immediately knocks me on the back of my head and makes me spit it out. Like, I can't even get through a full chapter of happiness and good things. I can't. I can't even get to the end of a chapter without something horrible happening that just makes me upset or mad or angry or something.
I understand.
It's not giving me enough to fill my positivity bucket. I start pouring it in. It looks like it's about to get filled, and then they knock it over, and it all spills, and I gotta start all over again.
A toad jumps in.
Yeah, not jumps in, jumps into it, and just splash everywhere. I have a feeling this is how the entire book's going to go at this point.
It's possible.
It's up and down, up and down. It's playing to my emotions perfectly. I just want a solid, good chapter without umbrage. That's what I really want, Matt. Is I want a full
week without umbrage
chapter without umbrage.
All right,
that would be fantastic.
We'll see what we can do.
It's not happening this week, folks. I'll tell you that much. Before we get into the reading and covering exactly why I'm frustrated this week, let's do something fun and something positive and something that I enjoy and I think you enjoy as well, Matt. And let's give something away for free. Shall we?
We shall.
Last week we promised a giveaway. We made it easy on you guys because the release schedule and the night of us recording this just was too tight of a window for giveaway entries. So we're going back to the old school iTunes review way of doing things. I'm going to pick one of you fantastic people out there that have sent in a review to iTunes. Of course, you had to send it over to Matt as well at talesfromgodric's@gmail.com. The lucky winner this week is winning one of our brand new Muggle Out t-shirts.
You got it.
Of course, you get to pick the size.
Yes.
But we pick the shirt, you pick the size. That's the deal. Matt, let's pick a winner, shall we?
Go for it.
Here's the thing.
What's that?
I'm in a Giants mood tonight.
A giant mood, you say?
A giant mood. Not like a angry giant, but more like a I'm fascinated by giants type of mood.
Sure.
According to Hagrid, my boy Hagrid, half giant, which I've known all along, the maximum height of a giant. Do you remember what it was?
I believe it was 25 feet.
Bingo. That's our number this week. That's who's going to win a Muggle Out t-shirt. Lucky number 25.
All right. No, lucky number 25 goes to Jimmy Wolf.
Jimmy Wolf. Congratulations, Jimmy. That's a name I don't think we've ever said.
I don't think so either. I honestly don't recognize it. So
that's fantastic. I love when it works out like that. Congratulations, Jimmy. Matt will get a hold of you. Let him know what size t-shirt you want, and we'll get that over to you. Thank you to everybody that has put in an iTunes review in the past or did it in a rush to get it in for this week. We appreciate those people as well.
Definitely.
Because some people still threw caution to the wind and said, hey, we only have a day to do this, but we're still going to get it in because they asked for it. We love you guys. You're the best.
Absolutely.
Stick around for the end of the show. We got another giveaway, which will be fun. I promise. Because it always is. That's what we do here. We have emails. We have a Muggle poll to talk about. But first, let's start with Chapter 20, Matt.
All right. Chapter 20, Hagrid's Tale. And, of course, as you mentioned...
Confession first.
Yes.
I did have to ask Val which tale we were talking about.
There have been other tales in conjunction with Hagrid before. Yes.
I just needed clarification because I immediately was going to start the chapter with some very interesting questions.
Uh-huh.
If it was Tail.
I could see that.
Yeah.
and it's totally not out of the question. In any case, 2 new characters, both giants, the wonderful Carcass and Golgamath.
It's great names. Those are solid giant names.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are solid giant names. Definitely.
I will say, though, like, my head kept converting Carcass to Karkaroff.
Ooh.
No relation. I know that.
No. Yeah.
But we don't hear a lot of, like, hard K sounding names like that.
Just the fact that it's car, even.
Mm-hmm. So I had to flip that switch in my head, but I got through it. All right, chapter 20, Matt.
Chapter 20. Hagrid's back.
We start off right where we left off. That was the kids seeing Hagrid coming back to Hogwarts. I feel like the invisibility cloak might be running its course with all 3 of them using it at the same time.
Yeah, it's getting to be more and more of a stretch. Like, it used to fit all 3. Like, did they even use it in first year for all 3 of them, I think? Kind of fit them comfortably.
Yeah, it seems fine.
More and more, we've been getting these references to how much Ron is growing up.
Yeah.
And how tall he is getting and
right.
lanky. And, yeah, it's just not going to work so well. Still, I mean, I don't think it was ever necessarily designed for more than one person.
No, definitely doesn't seem like it.
The fact that they've been able to use it for 2 and 3 people regularly has been kind of an anomaly.
Right.
It just worked because they got it when they were so young.
Yeah. Random question here, and I don't necessarily remember from the last movie, but like the actor that plays Ron, is he growing up quite tall as well? Like, did that match up?
Yeah. I still, I've never like tried to figure out the timeline exactly to figure out if she could write that into the book, or like, but I think when she was writing this book, they were still only on like the first movie.
Right.
So like, I mean, did they look at family histories?
I mean, there's a chance he wasn't going to be that tall, right?
Exactly. But I'm pretty sure it's Rupert Grint. I mean, he did turn out quite tall.
Yeah. Was it just dumb luck, I hope?
I
Would they have recast him if, like, he just, like, stopped growing and they're like, oh, no.
Recast him? No.
He's supposed to be taller than Harry. How are we going to, like, or would they just use incredibly...
think about it already. Hagrid looks like a half giant.
That's true.
I mean, I think they could make Ron look a little bit taller. Honestly, I think, if I remember right, I don't remember if this was for Harry Potter or another movie, but Daniel Radcliffe, he actually turned out pretty short.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he may be wearing lifts.
Oh, okay.
For parts of it, at least.
Sure.
Because he I mean, I'm pretty sure he's at least supposed to be taller than Hermione, but I don't think they. So right here, what I have listed at least is okay. He's not as tall as I thought, but comparatively, it worked. I have Dan at 5'5", Emma at 5'5", and Rupert at 5'8".
Oh, okay.
So he turned out taller than them at least,
right?
Which worked. When you just have the camera on them, but somehow I think they still may have used the camera a little bit to make him look taller.
Sure.
Because I think he looks taller than 5'8" in movies.
Yeah. And JK's writing makes him feel like he should probably be taller than 5'8".
I think so, yeah. I've always put him over 6 feet in my head.
Or at least 6 feet.
Yeah.
Kid actors, man, they just kind of make everything difficult, don't they?
Well, yeah, especially when you enlist them for at least 7 years.
Unpredictable growth spurts and all kinds of stuff.
We need you for 8 films over the course of like 10 years, I think it was.
Yeah.
Now, grow the way we want you to.
Oh, goodness. Good stuff. Okay. Yeah, weird sidetrack. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Okay. So they meet up with Hagrid. They rush down to his house.
Yep.
He's just getting home, right? There's nothing worse than getting home from a vacation and just being bombarded by people that are excited for you to be home. Like, it's a good feeling, but it's also like, I need to give me space, you know?
It's amazing how when you get home from a vacation, you just want to relax.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, wasn't that what the vacation was for?
No,
but
you always need a vacation from a vacation.
Yeah, I totally understand the feeling, though.
Yeah. So he's, like, just walking into his house. Like, we don't know if Grubbly Plank's staying in his house or not. Like, we don't know the status of his house. Like, is it clean? Is it exactly how he left it? His dog's there. Where was his dog? Like, so many questions, right? And he's just walking in, and then all of a sudden the kids come. If it was anybody else, he would have lost his mind. Thankfully, it's those three.
Yep.
But he has some injuries. He's pretty beat up, it looks like. Sounds like.
Very mysterious injuries.
He fell down some stairs. That's what he told the cops, at least. Question, though.
Mm-hmm.
He's using a dragon stake to put on his swollen eye.
Yeah, nice slab of green meat.
Right. Have you ever done this? Have you ever put meat on your face to reduce swelling?
I have not.
Okay.
Have you?
I haven't, but my head always immediately goes to the movie Sandlot.
Okay.
When the main character's playing ball with or learning how to catch for the first time with his stepdad. Stepdad hits him in the face with a baseball, then they immediately go inside the house, unwrap a steak, and slap it on his face.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I've seen it in movies.
Yeah.
But I, like...
Was that really a thing? Did people actually do this?
I was going to say, was this a thing, like, in the 50s or 60s that, like, doctors thought it was a good... Like, I mean, I've gotten, the bag of peas.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't know if that's just, like, because it's more hygienic... We've discovered than putting raw meat on your face.
Or you can still use the frozen peas after the fact, whereas
that as well.
Nobody wants to eat the steak that was just sitting on Matt's face for a couple hours.
Yeah, but yeah, why is it? Like, just keep the steak wrapped and put it on your face. Don't.
Bizarre.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever done it or seen it used on anybody except in the movies.
Okay. So, people out there listening, if this is something that you've done or seen happen in person, we need to know about it.
Yeah.
You need to write in and let us know.
We've been wrong before.
Yeah. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. We're just mystified by this actually being a thing.
Yep.
I'm more mystified by the fact that Hagrid has a dragon stake, though.
Are you really?
I am, actually. In my head, I think I have always pictured Hagrid as being a vegetarian. Just because of his love for animals and creatures.
He's served them weasel before.
I guess that's true.
I mean, that would... I mean, as gross as it is, it's still meat, I guess.
But, like, maybe I'm more confused by, like, the magical creatures part.
Sure.
Like, pigs and cows, like, I could see him, whatever, like, being... non-caring about whether or not he eats them. But like a dragon, like he's had dragons as pets. Like that's something.
Yeah, but I mean, there are kids who will grow up on a farm and raise pigs and like 4-H kids even.
Sure.
And raise them as pets and for show and stuff, but they still know how to kill an animal and eat it.
Yeah. But in a magical world where, like, you don't have to do butchering of animals yourself, I don't know. It just struck me as odd that he would have a dragon stake. Like, I guess if anybody was going to have a dragon stake, it would be Hagrid. When you look at it from one direction.
Here's the other thing: did he actually have it? Like, because he's been gone for months.
Mm-hmm.
Did he actually have this, like, still just sitting in his house and he found it when he came back? Or was it on his journey back to the school, he stopped at a friend's house and they saw his injuries and said, "Hey, put this on your eye."
Sure.
And he just been walking back with it now.
Maybe Grubbly Planks left it in his freezer.
Sure, maybe.
She was going to be eating it for dinner that night. And then he comes home and she's like, "Dang, there goes my dragon steak."
Seemed like a pretty big steak for Grubbly Planks.
Well, who knows? Like, maybe she's going to feed half to Fang.
Well, Fang did try to eat it.
See? I don't know. Hagrid the vegetarian works out well in my head, but who knows?
Or maybe he just had it for Fang. Maybe he doesn't eat it.
Yeah, that's also possible. Anyway. Little decent. See, I'm trying to avoid, like, the awful stuff in this, like, episode, Matt, and I'm going to, like, cling on to every little good detail I can just to avoid, like, how awful the rest of the reading is. Okay, so the kids are excited to see Hagrid.
Yes.
Understandably so.
Yeah.
I'd be excited too.
You would.
Hagrid has a tale to tell.
He does, as the chapter title implies.
Now, he's miffed that the kids know that he was out looking for giants.
Yes. He's like, that was supposed to be a secret. What?
Right. And then the kids are like, "Haha, we didn't know, but you just admitted it, sucker."
Yeah.
They tricked him.
But they did a little bit, but they were already pretty darn sure. Like, they hadn't gotten official confirmation from anybody, really.
Right.
And at least not, like, directly.
But instead of saying, like, "Why would you think I was out looking for giants?" he's like, "How did you know I was out looking for giants?" Like, because he's Hagrid, and he's horrible at keeping secrets.
It's true.
They knew what they were doing the whole way. Anyway, let's learn about some giants, shall we?
We shall.
First of all, I almost forgot, like, how long Hagrid's been gone. Like, he missed the entire summer. So he had, like, no idea Harry got attacked by Dementors and got expelled and got reinstated and everything. He's missed so much at this point.
Yeah. He left at the end of last school year when Dumbledore sent him off.
Yeah.
And kind of reinstated the order. Like, he knew it was going to be that important.
Right.
He had to get him out there right away.
Yep. Him and Madame Maxime went together. Now, she has since returned long ago, according to Sirius Black.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
It was interesting.
Especially because we don't find out exactly what happened with that at all.
Yeah. Hagrid has quite a few tales to tell.
Yeah. So it took him a month. It took them, I should say, a month to get to the Giants' HQ.
Yes.
That's one heck of a journey.
I would say so.
Could you imagine walking for a month anywhere?
Nope.
That's
like
ridiculous.
I know they did it back in the day before, they had cars, and I mean, even when they had wagons, a lot of times they walked alongside the wagons.
Right.
Like, they would do it day after day after day, but I can't imagine.
I'm no history major, but I don't think Lewis and Clark took a month to get here. I'm probably super wrong on that. So
I think you're super wrong on that.
It just feels like a long time.
Yeah, they took a long time to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially since they were documenting, like, everything along the way.
That's true. But still, a month? That's forever.
I know.
Of course, they were trying to avoid using magic for the first part.
That didn't help, that's for sure.
Because they were being tailed by somebody in the Ministry.
Well, they were assuming they were being tailed, which, I mean, was a pretty good assumption.
Yeah.
But
who was it? You're not going to tell me?
Why would I tell you?
I don't know.
Has it been in the book yet?
Yes.
I'll throw you a dragon steak.
So I don't know who would be following him for the Ministry. I don't know how many. I don't remember a lot of names from the Ministry. Let's just throw that out there.
Fair enough.
Other than McNair, who we got a reference to this chapter, there's not many people from the Ministry that I would remember enough to even start predicting who I think it was. I could say it's not Fudge. I could say it's not Dolores Umbridge. So, eliminate those people. Who knows?
So the one I'm gonna break in here quick.
Yeah.
The wonder that is the internet seems to tell me that Lewis and Clark. Well, okay, that includes the return trip, which was much faster. But to go from St. Louis out to Seaside, Oregon, and back to St. Louis took 2 years, 4 months, and 10 days.
Okay. So, I mean, comparable. I was close.
Yeah. A month, 2 years. Comparable.
There's some teachers listening right now that are just fuming, just very upset about the American education system right now.
Yeah.
Definitely should have paid more attention in that Pacific Northwest history class, Matt.
Yep.
Okay. So, they are off to find the giants. First of all, before they get to the giants, Hagrid mentions that he had a, quote, slight disagreement with the vampire in a pub.
Yes.
Is this our first official confirmation of vampires in this world?
No.
Didn't think so.
Because every time we mention them, you catch it.
Right. Because
this is probably, I think, the most direct.
But we've yet to actually meet a vampire, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Or learn anything about them.
There's been a mention of a vampire before, and then on top of it, there's Lockhart had a book about vampires.
Matt.
Professor who must not be named.
Thank you.
Had a fear of a name only increases the fear of the thing itself.
It's not fear. It's resentment. Bitterness. It's not fear, Matt.
Well, just substitute whatever word you want into that phrase. It still works.
I'm just not going to dignify him with referring to him by name. That's all.
All right.
I'm trying to forget about him, Matt. That's what I'm trying to do.
Good luck.
Yeah, I know. He just keeps popping up everywhere. Anyway, I want to know more about this slight disagreement with the vampire in a pub.
Yeah. I want to know, my first instinct is Hagrid had a few beers, was sitting down, probably playing some cards or whatever game they play in the pub where he seems to win all these things.
Sure.
And there was a slight disagreement over, some winning somewhere, I'm guessing.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
That's how it kind of goes in my head.
Right.
But I still want to know what was going on.
And how did it end? How was it resolved?
Mm-hmm.
Who is this vampire? Where is he now? Hagrid. So many things. The stories of Hagrid. Okay. So they finally get to the giants, apparently.
Yep.
And as Hagrid's describing, they range from 20 to 25 feet tall.
Yep.
He predicts that there's 70 or 80 left. And I'm guessing that's in the world or in this country, in the continent?
Well, what they were saying is over the years, since there have been so many problems, they've all come together.
Yeah.
So it used to be more spread out, but because their numbers have dwindled and because of all the fighting and the wars and stuff that have been going on, they've all kind of grouped together, and that's part of the reason their numbers keep shrinking.
Right.
Is because they're all grouped together. But, basically 80 left in the world, yes.
But that's my question. Are there giants on other continents? Are there North American, South American giants? Does Australia have one or two giants running around the outback?
I suppose it's possible. I've always been under the impression that unless there are one or two outliers, I think it'd only be one or two.
Yeah.
Out there. I don't think there's a whole nother tribe out there anywhere.
Sure.
I think that 80 is pretty close to the number, all that's left.
There's not the infamous New Zealand tribe of giants or anything like that.
Can ask Kim, but I don't think so.
Okay. Curious little creatures they are.
Not so little.
Not so little. But yeah, I mean, like you alluded to, because they're now living in close quarters to each other, that's creating fights and arguments amongst them, and they end up getting into giant brawls and killing each other. They're just killing each other off.
Yeah. I mean, it may just be, you know, playful fighting and pushing and shoving, but, I mean, they're giants. Yeah. They're not that gentle.
Right. And Hagrid said, like, several times, like, they are not meant to live this close together to each other.
Yep.
Thankfully, they have a chief, though, that overlooks the tribe and takes care of everybody and is strong and dominant, and you know, he's a hands-on deck type of leader, and you know, he does everything first before ordering other people what to do. Nah, I'm kidding. He's a lazy giant that just sits around and waits for people to bring him dead goats to eat and does nothing else with his life.
Yep.
Apparently.
Lives to be served.
Man, what a life, man. What a life. So the Chiefs are known as Gurgs.
Yes.
That's a giant sounding name if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, and like I've always kind of wondered if it's like a title, like is it Gurg Carcass,
right,
or is it just
the Gurg?
He is the Gurg. Yeah.
Is it capital G Gurg?
I believe it. Yeah, I believe it's written as capital G.
Well, anyway, interesting, fascinating, getting to know the pecking order of the giant tribe. We also found out the giants like magic.
Yes, they actually love magic, just not when it's used against them.
Which I feel like is not asking for too much, you know?
Yep.
Like, I like magic. Would I want magic used on me? Probably not.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to kill somebody over it, but, you know.
Yeah.
I can't blame them for not liking magic used against them.
I mean, kind of similarly, I guess. Like, honestly, I love swords. Like, if they weren't like so expensive and big, like I would probably have a collection.
Okay.
Like,
what kind of swords are we talking about? Like all swords?
Pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, probably more. I mean, not like samurai swords so much as like just some of the older swords that you'd see in like armies and stuff could get intricate.
Okay.
And I like the different designs and the different shapes of the blades and everything that they made, and it just piques my interest a little bit.
Okay.
And so, like, yeah, you could say I like swords, but not when they're used against me.
Exactly. So I don't know why Hagrid's making a big deal about this. He's like, yeah, they love magic, but boy, do they hate magic being used against them. It's like, well, duh, because they can't use magic back. Yeah,
but I mean, I that's the thing. It's like, as opposed to someone may like Filch, who's a squib.
Right.
You kind of get the feeling that he hates magic.
Out of jealousy, though.
Yes, I mean, there's different reasons to hate magic, but I mean, you could say the giants might hate just you might lean towards that they hate magic because they don't have magic, they can't use magic.
Sure, but they're at least impressed and entertained by it. Yeah. Whereas I don't think Filch is at all.
No,
he's just like, this is stupid.
And I think that's why Hagrid needs to make that distinction.
I guess so. Yeah. I don't know. It seemed like an obvious statement. So we learn who the Gurg is of this mass of giants. Carcass.
Yes.
Carcass the Gurg. Sounds like a peach. Real winner. So the first couple days of Hagrid and Maxime. Now, okay, other question. Now that I say Madame Maxime's name several times. He kept calling her another name. Is that her first name or a nickname?
It is. Nope, that's her first name.
Did we ever learn that before?
Yes, we have. Yeah,
Okay.
I never quite sure how to pronounce it. I've always said it Olympi in my head.
That's how Val read it too.
Okay.
But I was doing some mental gymnastics trying to remember if we ever knew that or if it's a nickname, where the nickname come from.
We had known that. I mean, it's one of those things like we're in a school setting, we're following students around, and out of respect, they're always supposed to, Professor Dumbledore, Professor Snape, Professor McGonagall. Like, most of those, we do know their first names. Like we know Dumbledore's first name, we know McGonagall's first name. But like, could you tell me Professor Flitwick's first name?
Does he have one?
He does. That's my point, though. And so that's kind of because, once again, we're taking this from Harry's perspective. It's always been Madame Maxime. That's how he's been introduced to her. That's what he's supposed to refer to her as. Apparently, they don't do the professor thing over there. I don't know. So it's... Well, I guess she was headmistress. So, yeah, maybe she wasn't a professor, actually. Anyway, I think that's why it doesn't get used as often.
Okay.
But it has been brought up before.
Okay. Fair enough. Probably when they were hanging out together before. In the last book.
Possibly.
Yeah. Okay. It just threw me off, and there's no explanation at all, so I assumed it was something we already knew, but not hearing Madame Maxime every time like he was referring to her, I had to keep trying to remember who he was talking about.
Sure.
Yep.
Anyway,
so their strategy, based on what Dumbledore told them to do, is to present the Gurg with a present. Build some trust, build some relationship here, and not ask for anything in return. Not, immediately start like bandwagoning for them to join the good side. Just give them a gift, let them enjoy it, and then come back the next day with another gift after telling them you're going to bring them another gift because they need to see that they're honest and that they are going to follow up with what they say.
Yep.
All makes total sense,
Yeah.
At this point, Absolutely. I mean, it took them a month to get there. They might as well take their time, wooing these giants. Why rush it?
Yeah.
Clearly, Hagrid's not too worried about getting back for the beginning of school year, so take your time. First gift that they give him is a branch of... I don't remember the exact name, so I'm sorry. You're going to have to tell me what it was.
It was the Brayton Fire.
Yeah, that didn't happen in my notes.
Yeah.
Basically, just eternal fire.
Yes.
A branch, I'm guessing like a tree branch, that's set on fire, but it just keeps burning forever.
Yeah. It was somehow enchanted or charmed by Dumbledore.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's all we really know. Like, Hermione, of course, knew what this was. She's read about it.
She's probably made one in her spare time.
No.
Art project.
It seems like it's a little tougher than that. Like, something only Dumbledore really knew how to do.
Yeah, I'll put it past her.
Yeah, but she'll learn it eventually. I mean, we have seen the blue flame from her. Who knows if that's related?
That was first year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because she used that against Snape in the stanza too. Yeah,
right. So, cool gift, right? Like that's.
Yep.
It's not just a parlor trick, but it's like useful as well.
Yeah. I mean, because you saw the giants. They were sleeping by the fire.
Yeah.
They obviously like fire, so fire that can never go out sounds good to me.
I'm guessing you could use that to light more fires. Like, I don't know if those fires would be eternal also, or like how that all works. But still, it's
like
cool.
My only question is, like what happens if you like snap the branch or something?
Right.
Do you have two of them now?
Sure. Is it the flame itself? Is it like the whole
Yeah.
the whole contraption there. Like if you set another branch on fire with that flame, would that flame ever go out?
And that's something I worry about with, like, if it is just like, in my mind, it is just this tree branch.
Yeah.
But then you have this 25-foot giant picking it up, and like he's picking it up like a toothpick.
Right.
And it's like hoping not to snap it. So
Sure.
it's like, we've seen how gentle these guys are.
Yeah.
That I guess that's why I worry about, like, how exactly does this work?
Right.
I hope Dumbledore thought this through.
I feel like he did. I feel like he wouldn't have sent Hagrid on a month-long journey if he didn't think out several different aspects of it.
And here's another thought then, too. Were they just carrying this everlasting torch for the entire month?
I mean,
like, here, follow me.
Yeah, how would that work?
I think be real easy to keep track of them if someone was tailing them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And maybe that's what upset the vampire. He's like, get that fire away from me. And Hagrid's like, I can't put it out, dude. He's like, no, put the fire out. I'm a vampire.
Like, do you want to try?
Yeah.
Be my guest.
Oh, what if he used it? Like, I bet you a drink that you can't extinguish this branch of fire. And then just kept doing that. I bet that's what it was.
I think we've discovered we're onto something.
Uh-huh. Slight disagreement. AKA Hagrid was tricking him to get free
vampires
ales. Vampires don't deal with parlor tricks, Matt.
Yep.
Okay, second gift. Now this one is incredibly confusing to me.
Okay.
A battle helmet crafted by goblins.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Is it a battle helmet big enough for a giant's head? Or is it like a battle helmet that would have been on a goblin made by goblins?
So it's just goblin made.
Right.
And we've learned before, goblins are very good at making stuff, especially weapons. So,
I mean, that was like the deciding factor in the Goblin Rebellion.
We do see eventually, when we get the new Gurg here in a minute, that Golgameth is actually wearing the helmet.
But was he wearing it on his head?
I'm pretty sure.
Or was he like just like putting it on his finger like a little puppet show type of thing?
You see, and that's the thing though. Like, if it were not big enough for them, would it be considered a good gift?
I don't know. But then my question is, how did they get this battle helmet there?
Well, okay, so
the branch, we can make up some crazy funny scenarios on how they got this branch with eternal fire to there. How they managed to get a giant size battle helmet, that I need more explanation for.
Yeah, I mean, it does make you question it a bit. Obviously, I think it would be too big for Hagrid to wear necessarily.
Yeah.
And it'd probably be a pain to carry around, but he is at least a half giant, and Madame Maxime is a half giant too.
Right.
So between the two of them, I would think they'd be able to carry this thing. Just wouldn't. I mean, because as much as in my head, like, these giants are, giant. Like, I'm thinking like, what is it? Gulliver's Tales?
Okay, yeah.
Where you get these, minuscule people and these giants. Like, I'm kind of picturing that size difference.
Okay.
But I don't think that's actually what JK is picturing.
Right.
Because he's a half giant. I think we've gotten a description somewhere like 11, 12 feet or something like that. And then we got these other giants that are 20 to 25 feet. So while they're twice the height, I don't think that necessarily means even like their heads are twice the size necessarily. Like, I don't think the heads are going to be that much bigger. And then, I mean, the other question is, what kind of battle helmet is this? Like, what is it made out of? Was it magically enchanted to become lighter? Was it is it a solid full head coverage thing, or is it more of a I don't know. I don't get into armor that much, but I think there are a lot of factors that could come into play, and I think ultimately, well, it's not going to be something that is easy to carry for them. It's going to be more manageable than it is in my head.
But then they're also carrying the branch with Eternal Fire on it.
Well, they each have one of them.
Sure.
There's two of them.
That's just a lot to carry for a month.
Yeah.
You know, he's not just going right down the road with it. I would feel better if they took, like, a carriage with some thestrals or something, you know, pulling them along.
Well, maybe
did they have Madame Maxine's carriage?
It's not ever written that way. I don't think so.
But I mean, that would make sense. Like, they would easily be able to transport stuff and have, like, everything that they would need for a several month long journey.
Yeah, but I think that would also indicate more magic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're trying to avoid that.
Which just makes it hard for me to be okay with them carrying this giant's helmet.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, then there's the other question. Where did Dumbledore get this giant's helmet? And where was he storing it?
I mean, they probably swung by the Goblin workshop and picked it up on their way out of town.
I ordered this. You're gonna have to go pick it up first, but
yeah.
She'll be waiting for you. I put your name on it.
Does Amazon UK deliver out there?
Here you go. It's brought in by a drone.
Yeah. So I don't know. Cool gifts. Just I was having a hard time. And again, this is all just Hagrid telling the story. We don't know how much truth there is, to be honest.
But we also see how good he is at lying. So.
Also true. Also true. So then at some point it was after that second day with the gifts.
Yep, because they went back the second day and gave them the battle helmet yet.
Right.
And then they had a third gift yet that they were going to come back with again.
But unfortunately, a giant war broke out that night.
Yes.
And
you wanted to hear about the giant wars, right?
Yeah, I did want to hear about the giant wars. Gruesome.
Yeah.
Nasty.
Yeah.
Hand-to-hand combat.
It's tearing to shreds.
Ripping heads off of each other.
Yep.
The old Gurg got replaced with a new Gurg. Carcass was killed. His head was thrown in the lake. Because that's what you do with giant heads, apparently. To be replaced by, what's his name?
Golgameth.
Solid giant name.
Yeah.
So, things are crazy around the giant camp.
Yep.
The new Gurg isn't too fond of the guests, regardless of what presents they may or may not have. He's not looking to make peace with anybody, it seems like. He's all about war and violence and vengeance. Which works out well for the other group that's trying to court the giants, which is the Death Eaters.
Yep.
Because that's exactly what they're into, also.
Mm-hmm.
Like minds always come together on stuff like this. Of course the Death Eaters are there.
As expected.
McNair, he's out there. He's
We've
leading
met
the
him
pack.
before.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hagrid's not a fan of McNair.
Yeah, not many people are.
Hagrid especially, though. You know, Hagrid has a specific...
He's had a few encounters with him, yeah.
Yeah. And it seems like the Death Eaters and the Giants are getting along pretty good here. At least, like, the new world order of giant leadership.
Yeah, as far as they can tell from a distance.
Yeah. It's not good news. This is not good news at all. Hagrid, he's like, we're not going to give up. We can still do some good here, even if the Death Eaters have the ear of the chief and his buddies. We could still spread the good word of Dumbledore around this camp, and hopefully we could get some giants, I should say, to abandon ship and come to the good side.
That's the plan.
So they start poking around in nearby caves. They find a group of giants that were attacked and hurt in the latest war and have been hiding out in the cave trying to recover.
Yep.
Hagrid's like, perfect. These are the giants that we're going to recruit here. Which, if I'm looking to recruit some people for my army, I'm not looking to recruit the ones that are already injured going into the war.
Yeah, but he's also,
I know he's running out of options here, but it's just like, maybe this just isn't working out.
Giants are giants at this point. And giants fighting against non-giants are going to, give you a huge advantage. Even giants fighting against giants, even if they've lost once before, are going to give you a better chance than if you don't have any giants.
That's true.
So,
I get
any
it.
Giants you can persuade.
I just don't
are
like
going to be of help.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Didn't last long though.
No. Things are not going well.
The new Gurg is sending out his boys to round up all the injured and wounded, and they do a raid of the caves, and we didn't get details, but it didn't sound like all of them survived the raid.
No, not so much.
And the ones that did just took off. They're just like, we're done with this. We're out.
Yeah.
So at this point, Hagrid and Maxime are kind of defeated here. They don't know what else to do. The Death Eaters are winning this battle of recruitment. So it sounds like they're just like, okay, like we can't get through to the new Gurg. The ones that we think that we might be able to talk to no longer want to talk to us anymore because they're getting killed. It's just bad scene all the way around, Matt.
Yep.
I'm curious how many giants were left by the time they left.
Yeah, their numbers have dwindled a bit.
Yeah.
I think the majority of them are still there.
Probably.
In my head, the way it plays out is like they got into this fight, that one night.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing essentially Golgamath, whether or not he had this planned or not, probably had a few guys on his side. And it's like, all right, we're going to take him down. This is it. I've had enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so they took down Carcass and anybody who got in their way.
Right. Which is probably a couple, right?
Yeah. But then probably left the rest.
Yeah.
So I don't think they decimated the tribe.
No.
But, they're probably down half dozen or so.
Yeah.
And when they went through the caves and cleaned up a few more, possibly a few more there, but
probably overall, I'd say like overestimation is probably like 10.
Yeah.
Which, that's 10 giants.
When your numbers are that low,
yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, like they. I think you put it this way in your notes, like something about extinction.
Yeah.
And if there's 80 of some animal left on the planet, I think they're classified as
endangered.
Endangered, yes.
Yeah.
Like near extinction.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they would be under that classification at this point.
Yeah.
So killing off any of them is extremely significant.
Right.
Killing off multiple in one night, yeah, that's not good.
And, like, how often do giants reproduce? Like, do they have a normal gestation cycle like humans? Like, is it longer? Like, there's so many questions I have.
Ask Hermione.
I need to, Matt. So anyway, the kids are absolutely riveted by this story. Right?
Yep.
We didn't get much further into the story, though.
No,
We didn't get much
not.
details about the trip home, how him and Madame Maxime got split up, why he took much longer to get home than she did, why he's all beat up still. We still don't know that answer.
Yeah. The only other detail that Hermione did ask about that Hagrid didn't want to talk too much about is that he did find out his mom is dead.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she was, like, iffy about even asking him, bringing it up.
Yep.
But yeah, he did find out that she passed away several years ago. He was told.
Mm-hmm.
And
like
he wasn't that beat up by it.
Exactly, yeah. He wasn't too concerned with it. Like, I guess he cared enough to find out from someone.
He needed closure.
Yeah.
You know, he's not going to be too sad about it. You know, he points out that she wasn't a great mom to begin with. But he just needed to know, you know.
Yep.
So we got this, like, incredible tale of giants and wars and everything. And then we got a little bit of sadness, finding out about Hagrid's mom. And then there's a knock on the door.
Of course there is.
My first instinct, Matt, my very first instinct, before knowing anything else, was please do not let this be Umbridge.
Come on, Dumbledore.
Anybody!
Come on, Dumbledore.
Neville! Malfoy!
They've all had to be sneaking out already. It's not going to be a student.
Filch and Mrs.
Any
Norris.
other professor, yeah.
You know? Madame Pomfrey. Anybody.
Yep.
Snuffles, for crying out loud. You know?
Yep.
Anybody. I just have that gut feeling immediately when that knock happened was, oh no. I am not ready for this. This is too good of a chapter right now. Of course it was Dolores Umbridge, Matt.
Yep.
Of course it was.
Got a poker nose in everywhere.
Oh, man. You know, my first thought is, did she see the footprints in the snow? Of course she saw the footprints in the snow. Yeah. That's why it was written that way. That's why it was described in the first place about them crunching the snow.
Yep.
So she followed him down. She wanted to see what's going on. She, first of all, wanted to, quote-unquote, welcome Hagrid back to Hogwarts.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering what she was doing out, because obviously this was late night, past curfew.
Yeah.
That's why they had to sneak out there.
Right.
Like, what was she doing? Like, she's not going to perform an inspection at this time of night.
I don't think this woman sleeps, Matt.
Why did she need to come visit Hagrid at all?
Last week we were talking about, like, sleeping quarters for the professors.
Yep.
Dolores does not need to worry about that sort of thing, because I don't think this woman sleeps. She might be a vampire, Matt.
She has some kind of caffeine potion.
Something. Because she is always there right when you don't need her to be.
Pretty much. Kind of like Lockhart.
Except he just stumbled. Why would you say his name again? That's twice. One more time, and we're going to evoke the horrible spirit of that horrible professor, and we're going to have to do like a spin-off show all about him.
Okay.
Don't do it, Matt. Don't do it.
All right.
So she wants to welcome Hagrid back. She wants to introduce herself. Hagrid's super confused by everything. He's like, who is this woman? What is she doing here? The kids know exactly what's going on. They're hiding. They're like, this is the worst possible scenario. You know, because if they get caught, they're done.
Yep. Especially by Umbridge, yeah. There's no getting out of that.
No. And, like, Harry is already way down on her list of favorite people. And, I don't know what else she could do to him at Hogwarts, but she would find out how far she could push it.
Well, she'd probably try to expel him like they did in the first place.
Yeah, that's true. Although, I feel like that would also be too easy of a punishment. She seems more malicious and more evil than just kicking somebody out of school.
True. That's true. Yep. She'd rather punish them, actually, than just get rid of them.
Like, expelling him before school started, that was because she didn't know the pleasure that she would get from physically harming him.
Well, and that wasn't her, actually.
Well, but she voted for it.
Sure.
I mean, she wasn't actively pursuing the expulsion, but she was definitely for it.
Yeah.
But now she's like, man, I can hurt this kid. Physically hurt him. And I could emotionally hurt him. And I could mentally hurt him. And this is way better than just kicking him out of school.
Sure.
So I don't think she would go expulsion. Not for him. Like, maybe she'd kick out the other two, because that would hurt Harry. Not having his best friends around. The woman's awful. Why are we even contemplating how bad she could get? We all know how evil she is. Anyway, they're hiding. They can't be caught. Hagrid's confused. He's doing his best. He's doing his absolute best to use the poker face that won dragons one time. Because he needs it.
Yeah.
It's just awful. It's just horrible, Poor Hagrid. He was blindsided by this. Like, he didn't even have any heads up.
He has no idea what he's getting into. Like, Hermione, I mean, she knew what that knock on the door was too.
Yeah.
And she wanted to warn him as much as possible. Like, got rid of some of the mugs, which was a great move. Mm-hmm. But like you said, there's no warning. He was blindsided.
Right. High Inquisitor, like, that wasn't a position last time he was at Hogwarts.
No, he's been at Hogwarts for a long time now.
Yeah.
And it's
also,
like, who are you? What's going on?
No. He knows the status of Defense Against the Dark Arts teachers, and he's like, good luck with that. You're stupid for taking that job. She's like, oh, really? Huh. Like, it's just a bad situation all the way around. And basically it ends with her saying, hey, I'm going to need to review you teaching your class because we're trying to weed out the awful teachers.
Yeah. Overall, I honestly think Hagrid handled himself pretty well.
I think that was just dumb luck because he didn't have time to really think too much about it.
But I think he the best thing he could do is stick to his guns and not try to switch up his answers. And he had no reason in his mind to fear or wonder about how she would react or anything like that.
Right, because he didn't know anything.
He didn't know any better. So he just told it how it was, and it's yes. And I honestly think that's the best thing he could have done.
Yeah. If he had been prepared and knew how horrible she was, he would have been stumbling and fumbling, and he would have reacted the way he did during the class when she's reviewing him.
Yeah.
Maybe even more so,
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, we just know that this is just going to end badly for everybody, and this is just kind of getting us ready for that, because she's horrible, she's awful, and nothing good comes of her being around. And she ruined this chapter for me. This is the chapter when I got to find out about the giants, Matt, and not necessarily the giant war, but a giant battle.
But Hagrid was back, and you got to find out more about giants.
Right, and vampires,
that's all you've been
and
wanting.
Dragon stakes, and
then she came.
She came and just, why couldn't this just start off the next chapter, JK hates me. I'm pretty sure of this.
Just couldn't let you forget that she was there.
Yeah. But as we finish the chapter, it's Hermione begging and pleading with Hagrid to not stray too far from the beaten path on which creatures he's going to be introducing to the class that he's going to be taking back over, because now Grubbly Planks is out of a job. Now that he's back, he's taking over his class, and Hermione's like, please just use ministry-approved creatures for this class. And he's like, that's too boring. I'm not. I think you're forgetting, Hermione, who I am, and that is blank Hagrid. What's his first name?
Rubius
Hagrid. She's like, yeah, that's the problem. that's what I'm worried about. End of chapter.
Yep.
Just bad things to come, Matt.
That's what it sounds like.
But before we get to the awful chapter, let's take a pause real quick, and let's check in with the Muggle Poll.
Let's do it.
The Muggle Poll, for those that may not know, goes up on our Twitter account, @TalesFromGH. Matt puts it up roughly 4 p.m. Pacific time of the day that we are recording the episode. It has to do with the reading for the week that we are recording. Matt picks a question, throws out some fun answers. It's our way of figuring out where you, the listening audience, stands on certain topics. Basically, just so I know how angry I could be at you guys for being wrong. Matt, what's the question this week?
Well, this week is all about Hagrid.
Yeah.
As we referenced a few times, Hagrid has more than one tale to tell. So, which one do you want to hear next?
What are the choices?
Do we want to hear about his month-long journey? Like I said, that's a long journey. A lot of things can happen. Want to know what happened there? Do you want to find out why he's injured or how he got injured? Because he's still kind of keeping that under wraps. Do you want to hear more about the vampire in the pub? Or do you want to find out why or how or when he got separated from Maxime?
Yeah. Let me say this first, Matt.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on which way the audience is going to lean on most questions.
Okay.
You know, I feel like for the most part, it's difficult to not predict which answer is going to be most popular. Okay?
Okay.
I went into this one 100% sure that the audience was going to get this one wrong.
Okay.
I would never have guessed that the audience out there would throw me a bone a little bit and think about this question from the perspective of the Muggle.
Okay.
And go with what I went with.
What'd you go with?
Vampire in the pub, Matt.
I'm right alongside you, with you there.
That by far the most fascinating story that I need to hear.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear too.
Yeah. Although I think we kind of cracked the code already, so maybe we don't need to hear that story anymore.
Maybe it can be a short story then. Confirmation. Yeah, we got.
Man, I would have bet so much money though that people want to know why he was injured or like how he got separated from Maxime. Like, that's more story driven, you know?
Sure.
But then again, like maybe all that's already answered in the book later on. Whereas the vampire in the pub may not
possibility.
Be, you know? So maybe that's the answer, because that's the only answer that people don't have the answer to.
We'll have to wait and see.
How did the voting actually turn out, though?
Looks like we got 53% for the vampire, 20 for why he's injured, 16 for the month-long journey, and 11% for Maxime.
Sure. You know, I think I'm onto something. I think people didn't go with what story he needs to tell next because they already know what stories. They know the other stories. Except the vampire.
Audience giving away things, yeah.
Man, you guys need to work better on this. Who knows? I'm pleasantly surprised that Vampire in the Pub won, though.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Something good came out of that chapter.
Man, it was a close one. It almost didn't. But that, of course, leads us to Chapter 21, Matt.
Chapter 21, The Eye of the Snake.
Mm-hmm.
A few more new characters here, actually.
Yeah.
All right. Can you tell me who Tenebrous is?
Tenebrous.
Tenebrous.
Is that first name or last name?
I'm assuming first name.
Boy, oh boy. No.
All right. It was the male Thestral that Hagrid introduced us to.
Oh, okay. I heard the name and I was like, we don't need to know names of creatures.
Hey.
Except Buckbeak.
There you go.
I feel like that was a
pretty
special
sure I
occasion.
included Buckbeak on the list. So
Yeah. Okay.
if we get names of creatures, I've included all the centaurs.
Yeah, but they're half people.
Fine.
Plus, I mean, you gotta bow to hippogriffs. I mean, there's a certain respect that goes with hippogriffs, and I think knowing their names goes along with that. These Thestrals, I don't see that kind of necessity with these.
Okay.
Stupid creatures.
Careful there.
They're very wise.
Two other new characters. Andrew Kirk or Kirky, I'm not sure on that one. And Jack Sloper.
The new beaters, right?
You got it.
Yeah. I only remember that because I made a point in my memory to remember that those were names I'd never heard.
Yep.
And will probably never have to care about.
But they're on the Quidditch team.
Yeah, but if Harry's not playing Quidditch, we're not getting any more Quidditch chapters.
He's going to go watch the game.
If they even have Quidditch anymore.
Think about it. It'll be the first time Harry's ever gotten to watch a match at Hogwarts.
Right. And you know what?
A Gryffindor match that he wasn't playing in.
And I can tell you, okay, if another Quidditch match happens that we are privy to, right? And we get another Quidditch chapter, maybe not in this book, but next year or whatever the case is. I can tell you exactly what the focus is going to be on.
What's that?
Two things. Harry listening to Lee Jordan do his thing.
Okay.
Wait, no. If it's next year, it won't be.
It's true.
Dang it. That's unfortunate. Okay. The main thing, though, is going to be Ginny as the Seeker.
Yeah.
That's what the focus will be on. Not these two bumbling idiots that are now beaters for the Gryffindor Quidditch team.
Still be on the team. Well, I guess they wouldn't necessarily have to be on the team, but more than likely on the team.
Sure. Just saying.
Yeah.
We're not going to need to know those names.
All right.
It won't be important. Angelina doesn't even think they're important right now.
She needs someone on the team.
Yeah, they're filling positions.
She's filling spots like Slytherin did with Crabbe and Goyle.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, new names.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, you forgot Nargles, Matt.
But that's not naming a specific...
No, but it's a new creature that I don't know anything about, and all I want to do is know more information about.
We have mentioned them a couple times now, haven't we?
Yes! And I got nothing!
Yep.
I have nothing to go on.
Nargles.
Anyway. Okay. I don't like the name of this chapter. Just throw that out there. It's a bad name for a chapter.
Well, it has to do with snakes. I mean, it's never really been good.
No. Doesn't end well at all. Also, and I didn't even really think about it until starting this chapter, but the more and more I started to think about the footprints in the snow from the last chapter, the more upset I got by the time travel.
Okay.
In my head, we were only a few weeks into the school year. And now we're in snow, which we find out later on we're at the beginning of December.
Yep.
And I just feel like we missed a lot of time at Hogwarts. Now, I know Thanksgiving isn't a thing at Hogwarts. That's fine. But once again, we have completely blown over Halloween, and this makes me upset.
Yeah, we actually just went through Halloween last week.
Was it even mentioned, though?
The only mention we got was October extinguished itself in a rush of howling winds and driving rain, and November arrived.
Wow. Okay.
I believe that was right. They were doing something with Quidditch. It must have been right before the Quidditch match.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely don't remember that, which means I was more confused that there's snow on the ground, because in my head it's still October.
Sure.
The fast forwarding of time, like, I get it, but it wigs me out. And I still think I'm holding on to the hope of, like, Halloween being important at Hogwarts.
Yeah. In past years, it has been. Like, we've mentioned just about every year, kind of like we mentioned Christmas every year. Halloween has kind of been a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But as you're starting to see, like, JK time jumps a lot, but unfortunately it's not at the same points every year.
That's true.
Which, I mean, if you think about it, from a practicality standpoint, that wouldn't make a lot of sense. It's like, big events happen at the same time every year.
Yeah.
Like, no, that it makes more sense this way.
But Halloween, Matt.
I know.
Just bums me out. That's all. Okay. I got a chuckle out of Hermione explaining that she was knocking on Hagrid's door for a half hour. How long have you ever stood at a door knocking before you just accepted the fact that they're probably not home?
As a former pizza delivery guy, I think I've made it. If I know it's the last delivery of the night, I'll probably wait around 10 minutes.
Okay.
But that's a little bit different because I'm expecting them to be drunk, and yeah.
Right. But you're there because they essentially invited you.
Yes.
In theory.
Yes.
Whereas Hermione was just showing up to Hagrid's.
But the most that's the worst part is that they called for me to come.
Oh yeah, no.
Sometimes they're still not there.
Sure, I'm not saying that's not the worst part, but I'm saying it makes more sense for you to try longer because you were expected to show up.
Yes.
Whereas it's not like Hagrid sent an owl to Hermione. He's like, hey, come down to my hut. And then she went down there and he's not answering the door. And she's standing there for 30 minutes knocking on his door.
But that's the thing. One, shows Hermione's determination, and two, she had nothing else to do.
Which I don't believe for a second, because that girl has a million things going on.
But
she does have time to waste.
She does, absolutely. She already had her homework done Friday night or Saturday morning, and this was now Sunday morning. She probably already done a bunch of stuff. She's running out of hats to knit. Like, what else was she gonna do besides go bother Hagrid and make sure he's okay so he doesn't get kicked out of school?
It's just the most Hermione thing possible.
It's how much time do you think she spent on Spew?
Too much.
That's what she's doing here.
Yeah, I guess so. But, like, wouldn't you just accept that Hagrid's not there and maybe go look for him somewhere else? I mean, he can't be that hard to find. Yeah.
Being as logical as Hermione is, you would think you'd try something else.
And he doesn't live in a big hut where, like, he wouldn't hear the door knocking from down the hallway.
Sorry, I was out back. He was in the basement.
Yeah.
Didn't hear you.
So, like, if a couple minutes he's not answering the door, maybe he's somewhere else, go look for him. Like, that's the logical part of Hermione, not just sitting there. Like, I understand, like, the determination to find him and talk to him and get through to him.
But, like, the only thing I can think of is, like, she maybe was assuming he was just ignoring her.
That could be it. Like, he just didn't want to talk to her.
He kind of gave that impression the night before.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm not going to do that. So when she comes back, it's like, Hermione, go away.
That argument I will accept, Matt.
Yeah.
Okay. We got a mention of chimeras.
We did.
Don't know what those are.
Really?
Creature of some sort. Are those a real creature?
Real mythical, I believe.
Okay, so it is a mythical creature.
Yes.
It's not like a
Greek mythology.
Okay. In my head, for some reason, I'm leaning towards, like, lizard-ish, but, like, dragon is sticking out also?
No.
Okay, nothing like that. Huh?
It's usually depicted as a lion with the head of a goat arising from its back, and a tail that would end with a snake's head.
Cool. Not even close.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's messed up.
Just an amalgamation of different creatures. Okay. All right. Well, we don't meet any, so moving on. Moving on into the Forbidden Forest, Matt.
Hagrid loves to go there.
I mean,
for being forbidden, they're, taken in there quite often.
Okay, look how many dumb first years would go running around the woods if they weren't named Forbidden Forest.
Yeah. But it's, and I guess, like, most of the students wouldn't go there by themselves. It's kind of after knowing what's in there.
Sure.
But
Hagrid knows. I mean, he's in there all the time.
Yeah, he lives in the forest.
He spends more time there than his hut.
It's where all his pets are.
Yeah.
Except Fang.
Yeah.
Because Fang's a coward.
But, yeah, that's true. Oh, Fang. Okay, so we're going to go find out which creatures Hagrid has up his sleeve. He's so excited to teach these kids. And, like, he's determined to teach them something interesting and impressive with the thought of them being part of the Owls.
Yes.
Like, and that's what I think impressed me, was it wasn't just like, oh, I got these cool things that you guys are going to love. This is something that would actually benefit you on the Owls.
Yeah.
Like, he sees some sort of educational purpose to learning about them.
Yeah.
Which is already a good thing for Hagrid to be thinking about.
Yeah. Yeah, he's actually thought about this and planned ahead a bit.
He's come a long way since the Blasted and Scroots.
Yeah, like he's kind of gone to both extremes already, from blast-ended Scroots to flobberworms. And now we see him kind of settling in. Like, this is his third year as teacher. Mm-hmm. So he's finally kind of getting into a groove and realizing, hey, I can do this. This is what I should be doing.
Yeah.
Probably how it should be handled a little more. Gotten to see Grubbly playing a few times. I guess he didn't necessarily observe the classes, but maybe at least heard about them.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, I can do that. Sure.
Maybe share some notes with her or something.
Yeah.
So we get to find out what these creepy skeleton horse things are, finally.
Yep.
Thestrals.
So, we've had the description of the animal before.
Yeah.
We've had the name before. Mm-hmm. But not until now have they been put together.
Yeah, it was just a couple weeks ago that Thestrals was dropped, right?
Yep.
Did Luna say it?
Yes. I think so.
I think so. And everybody was like, what are you talking about? That's probably how it went. Anyway. Cool. I'm excited. These are the things that only Harry could see. But it turns out a couple other kids could also see them as well.
Yep.
I mean, Hagrid can see them, obviously. Which I guess isn't obvious, but makes sense, you know?
Yeah. It would be kind of hard for him to tame them and, even know about them.
Yeah.
Or know where they were and that type of thing. But we can see how much he planned ahead just by bringing the dead cow.
Right. Yeah.
So, because he expected most of the kids wouldn't be able to actually see the creature.
Mm-hmm.
But if I bring something along, I'm sure he was bringing it just, because he likes to feed the animals. That's what he does.
Yeah.
That's why they like him. They know it's feeding time. But I think that was also a good forethought, because that's what he pointed to when it's like, okay, I know you can't see him, but look at what's happening.
Right. How do you explain to a bunch of kids that can't see them that they're actually right there?
Yep.
You know? So the other kids that could see them were Neville and some Slytherin kid. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we found out why exactly they could see them and no one else could.
Yeah. So just before we get too far away from this and I forget, it wasn't actually Luna. It was actually Grubbly Plank.
Oh, really?
Dropped the Thestral name.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's when Harry brought Hedwig to Grubbly Plank.
Oh.
And she said, Thestrals will sometimes go for birds, of course. Yep. But Hagrid's got the Hogwarts Thestrals well trained not to touch owls.
Right, okay.
Because we discussed that a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Totally remember that now. Okay. But we do know that Luna can see these creatures, which is interesting.
That's what she claims, yeah. Because, she mentioned it back in the carriage, that it's like, yeah, you're only as sane, you're as sane as I am.
Yeah. So we found out that only people that have seen death can see the Thestrals.
Yes.
That's a very interesting thing.
It is.
I kind of feel like Hagrid got a kick out of just discovering who could see them and who couldn't.
Yeah.
You know? He knew Harry was going to be able to see it because of what happened with Cedric last year.
Mm-hmm.
But then, he was also, curious, okay, who else is going to be able to see them? And found out Neville and the Slytherin kid could both see him, which means that they have both witnessed death.
Yep.
Which is kind of heartbreaking in a way, you know?
Yep.
That's not a thing kids should see. And it's not just, knowing somebody that died or anything like that. You have to, from what I understand it to be, you have to see the death happen.
Yeah, otherwise they all knew Cedric.
Yeah.
So they can't just have and they saw the dead body.
Right.
So that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
You have to have seen the death.
Right. So with Neville it was a grandfather, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did we find out who the Slytherin boy saw?
I don't believe so.
Okay, nobody cared. But then it's okay, well, who has Hagrid seen die?
Yep.
That's an interesting question that we didn't get an answer to. But yeah, these things are creepy and fascinating at the same time.
Yeah.
Someone who does not think they're fascinating. Him.
Ouch.
The worst person alive, Dolores Umbridge. Here she is to hang out with the class while Hagrid teaches.
To ruin another chapter for you.
I feel like we could spend a long time describing how awful this scene was.
We could.
I just kind of don't want to, though, Matt. I'm going to get yelly and fighty, and Hermione kind of just summed it up best with, how she was feeling at the end of it.
Yeah.
Of just, furious, and I don't even remember the words. But by the end of this, I was feeling, sick to my stomach. I was getting furious. I was so angry at the way that this woman treated Hagrid. And it wasn't because she spent a lot of time with him to know that she doesn't like him. It wasn't necessarily because she knows for sure that he's questionable at best as a professor. As Hermione pointed out, like, she has a real problem with people who are not pureblood.
Yeah.
And Hagrid being a half giant, like, alarms are going off all over this place with her and how she would feel about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we kind of touched on that the first time. Like, she mentioned half-breeds.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, at that time, Hagrid was not around, but it was inevitable that he was going to come back, so...
Yeah. It makes me sick to know that... And like... Unfortunately, and I don't want to go too far down this road, but we have seen hatred and ugliness in the real world recently because of people's beliefs about other people and unjustifiably. And like this was just so ugly and bitter and disgusting, the way that she treated Hagrid, you know, because of her feelings towards half-breeds and just everything, just because she's such an awful, awful woman. Like, this was so hard to sit through, and I was just, like, squirming in my seat, like, hoping for it to be done as quickly as possible. Like, poor Hagrid, like, he's doing his best to get through it. Hermione is, like, seconds away from rampaging on Umbridge herself.
Yeah. And honestly, I just didn't like the way she even handled this interview, or whatever she's calling them.
Right.
Like, it didn't feel like it even was done with the same integrity of the other ones.
No, absolutely not.
Like, she was miming. She, like, every time she made a note, I'm pretty sure the way it's written, I've always read it like she's saying this out loud as she's writing it.
Yep.
And then, like, she was going, or like, you know, most classes she would go around and, you know, talk to the students a little bit, but she was, I think I kind of did it off to the side quietly. This one, it felt like she walked right up to the Slytherins and, like, in the middle of Hagrid's class was just having her own conversation with the student, and like didn't care that Hagrid was trying to teach,
and doing it loud enough so that he could hear.
Exactly. And so, like,
she was encouraging the Slytherin kids to bully Hagrid.
Yeah, it just felt like she was being rude and disruptive and, like, not even giving Hagrid a chance.
No.
Because of her preconceived notions.
Yeah. Her mind was made up on what she felt about Hagrid before she even approached them.
Yeah.
And she did everything that she could to sabotage and take down that class and that opportunity for the kids to learn something, you know?
Yeah.
Because Hagrid was all in on trying to teach them about these creatures.
Yeah. I mean, it's honestly, it's kind of the same thing to a lesser degree, obviously, when we had the Buckbeak, you know?
Right.
Like, it was going to be a great lesson until Malfoy went and screwed it up.
Right.
This was, in all likelihood, going to be a pretty good lesson.
Yeah.
But then Umbridge showed up, and
Malfoy was just being a dumb kid, you know?
Yep.
But Umbridge showed up to completely take down that class.
Yeah.
You know? It sucked. It really sucked, man. It was not my favorite reading by a long shot.
I believe it.
It was tough to sit through. It was tough to just listen to how Hagrid's being treated. I was feeling the emotions that Hermione was feeling, and there was just like nothing anybody could do about it, you know? Man, that sucked.
Yeah.
Let's move on to better things.
Okay.
Hermione absolutely still thinks that she has freed so many house elves.
Yeah, she's just worried about the ones she hasn't freed yet.
She's like, man, there's just a few left I gotta get before the holidays. Like,
yeah, it almost feels like she took a head count, and that's how many hats she's working on making. Mm-hmm. It's like, gotta get them all.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're not quite there yet.
I was slightly excited for this moment for Harry to tell her the truth about it.
Yeah.
But I think I was even more excited by the fact that he didn't. Because that means this is just going to continue and continue on. And there's no harm to anybody. You know, like, this is one of those things that, you know, it's going to upset Hermione, you know? Exactly.
Like, she's not going to like it. It's not going to be a good feeling. But in the grand scheme of things... Yeah, it's not really hurting anyone.
With everything that's going on at Hogwarts this year, like, this is, like, the farthest from being important.
Yeah.
Hermione, just as smart as that girl is, she's just so naive about things sometimes.
Yep.
You know? Cracks me up. Like, she can't even fathom thinking about the fact that Dobby is just going around collecting all of the hats and socks.
Yeah, but I mean, to be perfectly honest, did that thought ever cross your mind until you found out about it? Well, I guess you kind of did say, like, there's no way the elves are picking them up.
Right, because,
like, you didn't know what was going on with them, but...
Everything is still running and operating at Hogwarts the way it always has. As far as, like, the cleaning and the food and everything.
If all of them had the same attitude as Dobby instead of the same attitude as Winky, then, I mean, things could continue.
But I think Hermione knows deep down, like, everybody's kind of right about the house elves. But she's just
not going to give it up.
No, she doesn't want everybody to be right. Like, she's just not letting go on this. Dobby, as we've seen, and I think everybody has seen at this point, is a special character in the realm of house elves.
Yeah.
He's one of a kind. I needed to smile about Hermione being dumb about this because it just cracks me up. Also, for the record, went back and looked at the illustrations from the last couple chapters and saw Dobby dressed in all the hats and socks.
Yeah, you did get to look at them?
Yeah, I had Val show me. They were phenomenal.
Awesome.
Better than I anticipated.
Yeah, I did put them in the show notes for last week.
Okay.
Just in case you didn't get to look at them.
Yep. But when this started happening, I made Val stop and go back and show me because I was like, I need to see these. I need, and like Luna and her lion head. That hat was so much bigger than I was picturing in my head.
We see, and that's the thing is, I believe it's what's her name? Mary Grand Prix, I think, that does all the illustrations for these books.
Okay.
And sometimes I wonder, like, most of the illustrations are not what I had pictured in my head. They don't line up with what was in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of wonder, like, I think they're just her take. Like, she probably got to read the book, and this was her take on things.
Right.
Like, JK probably approved them at some point.
Yeah.
But I don't think that she necessarily, I guess,
she let her do her own interpretation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like this isn't JK's interpretation necessarily.
Right.
So it's always interesting to see what other people are picturing.
Mm-hmm.
Because we get a whole nother interpretation when we're getting these illustrated editions of the books.
Yeah, I was thinking about that and how fun those are going to be as we get further in.
Oh, yeah. Well, like I said, the third one's coming out this year. I just can't wait to get the full series of them, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
Dobby. Goodness gracious. That elf. I also got a kick about how nonchalant Ron was about forgetting to tell Harry that he was invited to go back home with him to the Burrows for the holidays.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he understood how disappointed Harry was or how bad he was feeling even.
I feel like that's something that you would want to tell your best friend.
Yes, but one, they had a lot of other stuff going on.
Yeah.
And two, in my head, it's one of those things. Mrs. Weasley probably just wrote it in a letter. It's like, oh, and make sure you ask Harry to come along too. And Harry wasn't around right then and there. It's
Sure.
like, okay, yeah, I'll do it later. And it's like, it's one of those, like, I've been in those situations. If my mom tells me to relay a message in the morning and I'm not seeing that person till that night, and it's like, there's a good chance I'm going to forget.
But something as big and important as this, though?
Yeah, it doesn't
Ron
seem that
knows.
big and important to Ron.
But Ron knows how special that is to Harry.
He should.
You should,
But he's
at this point.
a dumb 15-year-old boy, too.
15-year-old boy. Man, you're right about that. Also, like, I feel like Mrs. Weasley would have wrote a letter directly to Harry saying, hey, by the way, you're coming home for the holidays with us.
That's true.
You know, like,
That's true.
That's something that's not Order of the Phoenix related. That's just, you know, his surrogate mom sending a letter to Harry, inviting him for the
maybe
holidays.
she felt safer if nothing was addressed to Harry, just because, like, if they are like, do they gotten word that the mail might be being inspected, especially Harry's mail?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just safer to write to her son and have that message passed along.
Yeah, because then they know where he was, I guess, or who knows.
Yeah.
I was laughing at the fact that Ron is just like, oh yeah, totally forgot to tell you, you know. And Harry's like dying because Hermione's going skiing, which is the funniest thing ever. Ron's going back to the Burrows, and you know, it's going to be another holiday at Hogwarts. And now it's kind of weird. It feels weird because this is going to be our first holiday that isn't spent at Hogwarts. Right?
Yeah,
Because Harry hasn't gone home in a year. He's always staying there.
Yeah, we've always celebrated, like, they've usually been one of the few students left there.
Yeah.
That's usually when, like, Harry sneaks off to the restricted section.
Right.
Because no one's there.
Yeah. And they exchange gifts and everything like
Yep.
that.
He's always gotten gifts at Hogwarts.
Yeah. So it's now weird that we won't be spending the, you know, Christmas holiday at Hogwarts.
Yeah.
In theory. A lot could happen between now and then. We'll just probably time jump and it'll be March.
I mean,
oh yeah, holidays were good.
Harry thought he was going to live with Sirius too, so
Don't take
that
this from
changed
me,
in half
Matt.
an hour.
Don't you dare take this away from me. Okay, so we're gonna have a final DA meeting before the holidays.
Yep.
Boy. Dobby. Dobby decorated for the holiday season.
So my biggest question, I want to know how Dobby found the room. Like, I the best I can come up with, if you want to get technical, is the room understood how much Dobby required it to decorate for Harry. Like, that's how strongly he wanted it.
Yeah.
Was he could summon that same room. But otherwise, like, the room requirement, it changes depending on who's going into it and what their circumstances are and all these things. It's like, why would it become the DA room for Dobby?
Because Dobby really wanted it to be the DA room so he could decorate.
Yeah.
That was like his biggest desire and need.
But like that's all I can come up with, but it just it feels like a little bit of a stretch to me. But
Dobby is that needy for Harry Potter's attention.
It's true.
Right?
Have a Harry Christmas.
Okay. Yes, we need to talk about this because I am 100% sure I have seen this on social media, specifically last Christmas. People, saying have a very Harry Christmas, etc., etc. I just thought this was just a joke, like Harry and Mary rhyme. So Harry Potter fans were just, this is just something that Harry Potter fans did because it was just ha 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 punny, you know? I
Very
didn't
funny.
actually know this was a thing in one of the books.
Yep. Welcome to the club, Josh. Welcome to the club.
Wow. I am so impressed, and I absolutely cannot wait for Christmas now because of this. The fact that I went Christmas last year and nobody brought this up is amazing. Credit to everybody in the community. But I can't believe I had to wait until the middle of book 5 to find out that this was actually a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. I love it.
That's JK for you.
It's also Dobby for you, you know?
Yes. Yes.
Dobby also mentions... No, does Dobby mention it? Is Dobby in the room?
No.
Who mentions there's Nargles in the mistletoe?
Luna.
Luna, that's right. Okay, good call.
Yeah.
What are Nargles? I need to know.
They're in the mistletoe.
I know they are.
Or they might be in the mistletoe. Like, I just love how she worded it. Like, she mentions that there's mistletoe, and Harry's first reaction, of course, is, oh, it's right above me. You know, I don't want to be standing under this. Luna's the only one here, right?
Right.
And so he jumped out from under it. She says, good thinking. Very seriously.
Right.
It's often infested with Nargles. I'm like, just the way Luna talks, even. Like, some people love the way Dobby talks. I love the way Luna talks.
Right.
It's just so good. So good.
Just straightforward. Just blunt. There's no...
Yep.
I don't know...
There's no fluff.
I don't
Luna.
think she has emotion. You know, there's no... I don't feel like her voice fluctuates at all. There's no inflection. It's just...
Monotone?
Yeah. That's just straight up facts. That's all she does.
Yeah, I can see that.
She's so... Yeah, I love that girl. Alright, so this is where we find out about all the Quidditch changes. Jenny's a new seeker. That's cool. These two new idiots are the beaters. Cool. Nobody cares. Angelina's just like, whatever. This team sucks now, but hey, at least we still have a team.
Yep.
Harry's like, hey, I would be playing if I could, so don't be mad at me. She's like, well, you also did punch somebody, so that's kind of on you, you know. I get both sides of it, Matt.
Yep.
I also feel, okay, so they're going through their class. They're not learning anything new. They're just kind of practicing stuff that they already know and trying to perfect it.
It's the end of the semester. They're reviewing for the exam.
Yeah, which, what's his name? Dumb Hufflepuff is a little bitter about.
Zacharias.
Zacharias. And, you know, I'm kind of siding with him on this one. Now, I understand, like, not learning something right before leaving for a couple weeks. But I also feel like they need to start ramping up the difficulty in what they're learning.
But I mean, we haven't been to all the meetings, and just look at what they were. It's not like they were just practicing Expelliarmus again.
Yeah,
like they were freezing people.
Yeah,
they were stunning people. Like this is good, useful stuff that they've learned in just a few months.
I understand. My point is, and I appreciate that Harry kind of threw out that he was like, hey, when everybody gets back, hey, maybe we'll start working on Patronus charms.
Yep.
Cool.
Well, I love he threw that teaser out there.
Yeah.
It's like, you're going to want to come back.
So, I guess my point in the thing is, we don't know, nobody knows how long this club will be able to operate. It could get shut down at any time. Like, they're being super careful about everything. But also, I don't think anybody should really trust Umbridge to not eventually catch on to it, you know? So, like, the club could get shut down at any moment.
Okay.
The school year is, as we see, is rapidly ending. I just feel like I understand how important it is to perfect something and be really, really good at something. But also I think it would be crucial for them to have a broad scope of different spells. And, like, even if they don't perfect the Patronus Charm, at least know the basics so that if it does get shut down, they would at least know where to start with practicing on their own.
I guess, but I guess I'm of the impression, especially with this topic, is it better to know 5 spells introductory level or have 2 or 3 mastered? Like,
I don't know. I don't know if there's a right answer.
Like, honestly, I would rather be able to say, I know I can do these spells at any point in time now.
Yeah.
As opposed to, well, I have vague knowledge of these 5 spells, but I've never actually gotten any of them to work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what good is that going to do you in battle?
Yeah. I don't know. And like Harry pointed out, if Voldy wants to kill you, he's going to kill you. Like, no matter what spells you know or are really good at.
Sure. Well, except for Harry.
Yeah, with the exception of whatever weird thing Harry got's going on.
Yeah, he's the only one that's ever escaped now multiple times. But, like, I mean, the Impedimenta Jinx, like, that's probably, I think, one of the best that they could have used early on, because it freezes them for like a minute, if for no other reason, giving you time to run away.
Yeah.
Like, that, I think, is one of the best things they could have taught them.
Right.
I understand, especially Artemis, one, it's simple, and 2, if you do successfully knock their wand out of their hand, well, that would also give you time to run away.
Right.
So kind of being defensive first is a good place to start.
Yeah. I fear that the thing is going to get shut down, and there's still going to be kids that won't know the basics of the heavy hitters.
Sure.
Because they're not going to learn in class.
But at least now everybody seems to know these spells, and now he can get into the heavy stuff.
Yep. Which it sounds like we're going to.
Yeah, he's moving along as best he can. Like you said, like, Neville is still having some trouble with him.
Right.
Like, but everybody else seems to be moving along nicely, so he can move on now.
Yeah. And I was thinking all this before Harry threw out, like, hey, when we get back, we'll do the Patronus Charm. So, like, my thought was before Harry kind of established that we're definitely moving into bigger stuff.
Yes, so, he's getting there.
Yeah. Harry and Cho.
Yeah.
Harry and Cho. Feels like this has been a long time coming.
There's been quite the build-up, over a couple books now, I guess.
Yeah. Unfortunately, before anything moves forward with Harry and Cho, Cedric does need to be brought up.
This girl needs to get over Cedric. Needs to get past him. Like, I understand it was horrible, but
Matt, did you lose a girlfriend when you were 14 years old that just died suddenly?
But that's my point. Is it was like they couldn't have been dating for that long, even.
No,
it's not like they were married. It's not like it was a family member. It, like, everybody else seems to have moved past it, at least more than Cho has.
Yeah.
It bothers me, honestly.
It happened so suddenly, unexpectedly, and violently that I think it would be hard for a girl that age, or boy that age, anybody that age, to just get over it. Without closure, you know? I don't know. And especially as Hermione kind of laid out towards the end of the chapter, there's a lot of complicated emotions and feelings going on here.
Yeah, I mean, like, Hermione did a very good job of explaining things and showing how much was going on there, but still, I mean, we don't see, like, maybe we don't see Harry having as much trouble because he's trying to deal with Cho instead of trying to deal directly with Cedric.
Right.
But it's like it just feels like she is the only one that is still hung up on this.
Yeah, but I think she was also probably closest to him than anybody else that's still at Hogwarts. You know, because he was a seventh year.
That's fair. That's fair.
So there was probably people in his year and in the Hufflepuff house that were extremely close to him, but they're not Hogwarts anymore. You know, the only younger person that we know that he actively hung out with was Cho. You know, and now she's having these complicated feelings of, like, she does like Harry, but she feels kind of guilty for liking Harry because Cedric just died less than a year ago. Like, it's been like 6 months, you know?
Yep.
So there's a lot of things going on. But, yeah, this, they needed to have the Cedric conversation, and I think she's probably wanted to have it from, like, the get-go with Harry, like the beginning of this school year.
Yeah.
And every time they bump into each other, things go awry.
And I think that's part of it. Like, it just feels like every time they bump into each other, it starts about Cedric.
Yeah.
And so, like, she keeps bringing it up time and time again. And like you said, yeah, they never really get anywhere with it. But it just feels like every time it's like, can you just not talk about him this time, please?
Yeah. But she just needs to. Like, she just needs to talk about it, and then, like, I think that's part of her process of moving on. Like, she can't move on until...
That's the closure she needs.
Her and Harry have the conversation of, hey, this happened. This kind of sucks. Yeah, it does kind of suck. Okay, as long as we both agree that this kind of sucks. You know, like, it sounds stupid, but
yeah,
if all you're wanting to do is talk to the last person that saw your boyfriend before he died, was killed, like, wouldn't you at least want to have a very basic conversation with that person?
Sure.
Like, she's not looking for, like, gross details about it, or, like, she's just like, you know, that might be a part of her, like, did he say anything? You know, like, did he have any final words? I'm sure it's hard to, like, kind of comprehend the fact that it was so quick and sudden, you know? Like, it was a shock to Harry, too. But Harry was definitely the last person to see him alive. And it's been such a whirlwind since it happens that if there's any information that Harry may want to share, like, she wants to leave that door open. But if not, then let's just agree that it sucked. Everybody's sad. But we also kind of like each other. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
Mistletoe.
Still there.
It's still there. With or without Nargles, we'll never know. And then, like, the story just kind of jumped ahead.
JK does do that.
I lost my mind. I honestly thought we were just going to advance and we weren't going to find out what happened.
Oh, she wouldn't do that to you. Well, she might hold off for a chapter or so, but
that was what I was worried about. Is this going to be like next week's reading, you know?
Next week's chapter 22, the kiss,
which normally would be a week later, but because I had to read so early to get this recording in, like, you're adding extra days to that. It was
That's true. It's going to be like a week and a half till your next reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I just want to know what happened between Harry and Cho. You know, give me the TMC report now. Hermione's just no frills, no fluff. Just tell me what happened. You know.
Well, yeah, Ron's trying to slowly drag it out of him. It's
right.
like, wait, are you telling me what I think you... And Hermione's, yeah, they kissed.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you understand.
Yeah. They kissed. Hurrah! Hooray!
How was it?
How was it? It was wet. Okay.
That's one way to describe it, I guess. Yeah.
Sure. I'm starting to wonder how age appropriate is this book that we're reading here, Matt? Because these are dumb 15-year-old boys that are talking, and I'm just, my head is starting to hurt a little bit, and Harry's quick to describe what he means by it's wet. It's because she's crying.
Yes.
And then Ron asks, like, the best question ever.
Yeah.
Are you that bad at kissing? And Harry's like, oh, dang. Maybe I am. This is the Ron and Harry that we haven't got much of this year because Umbridge is so horrible and there's so much going on. But, This is the banter between the two dumb kids that I love so much.
Oh, yeah.
And then, the two boys are celebrating, Harry's first kiss and blah, 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 blah. And then Hermione just drops, the most knowledge on these two idiots that she possibly can. And it's, the perfect description of how the female brain operates and, female emotions and how dumb boy brains are, in comparison.
Yeah.
She's like, Cho is a mess because of this and this and this, and she's thinking this, and then she's feeling this, and she's worried about this, and this is causing this to boil over into this, and there's this domino effect, and just laying out the entire groundwork for every little bit of emotion that Cho is possibly feeling in, those few seconds of kissing Harry.
Yeah. Basically just laid out what she heard in the girls' bathroom over the past 5 weeks.
Yeah. And, Ron and Harry are just sitting there dumbfounded. They're just like, is that really how girls think and feel?
Yeah.
This is real? Just phenomenal. And you know what? I remember being a dumb 14-year-old boy. That's how dumb 14-year-old boys think.
Yep.
It's not just as easy as you would hope it is for boys. So much good stuff. And then, this whole romantic get together in the DA room under the mistletoe ended with the most romantic move you could possibly make.
The
good
pat
old
on the back.
Pat on the back. Nothing says I'm really into you like a pat on the back.
Such a charmer, Harry.
I just, and then he's throwing out, well, I wish Sirius could give me advice on girls.
Yeah.
And I start thinking, do we know if Sirius is a ladies' man or not? What's his status, with the opposite sex?
I don't think we necessarily know that for sure, but I like to think the Marauders were probably pretty well liked.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about this before.
He was a bad boy.
Confidence is attractive.
Yeah, he was a bad boy,
and
wasn't he?
those Marauders definitely had confidence.
Yeah.
They had some swagger.
Yeah. We know James did.
Yeah.
And we know Lupin was, the goody two-shoes trying to keep him in line, so...
So, yeah, I kind of assume James and Sirius in particular were probably good with the ladies.
Yeah.
Lupin, could be if he wanted to, but like you said, he's trying to reel them in most of the time.
Right.
Pettigrew, maybe not so much.
Yeah, I don't think he was up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor Peter. Just so much going on here. One question, and it wasn't addressed, but I had it as the reading was going on. Mention of Seamus and Dean.
Okay.
in the dormitory. They're going to bed. Everybody's going to bed.
Yeah.
We haven't dug back into Harry and Seamus's beef that they had to begin the year. Like, it hasn't been addressed at all. There was no resolution to it.
Not really, other than, aren't they in the DA?
Are they? I don't remember their names being part of it.
That's a good question. But
we know Neville is.
Like, I feel like it would be weird if they weren't.
We know the Creevy brothers are. Be wrong. Neville, the twins.
Seamus Finnegan and Dean Thomas. Yes, they are.
They are? Okay.
They are.
All right. So...
Yeah. So I think in that group setting, in that first meeting where Harry kind of got to do his thing, tell his story a little bit, and everybody really felt better after that. Mm-hmm. I think that was probably enough for Dean and Seamus.
I guess, but it was there was so much emphasis on that little altercation that Harry had with them, and it just kind of faded away.
Yeah.
We got no resolution directly with it.
But, that's one of those things that I've always felt guys can do. It's always kind of described that way. Guys can just hug and make up.
Yeah.
You don't need that long, drawn out, sit down and talk. It's no, okay, we're good. We're good again. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I would have liked to have, even if it was, just one paragraph of them just acknowledging the fact that everything's cool, or at least have something in writing where they are acknowledging each other on a civil basis. They don't have to be best friends at this point. Yeah. But there was just no mention of it at all from that one explosive night. So that was just kind of weird to me.
Fair enough.
Harry goes to sleep.
Yep.
Harry has a dream.
It's been happening a lot of those recently.
Well, he has, except most of the dreams were not about him paying Cho 150 chocolate frogs to hang out with him.
It's true. And then Hermione popping up to basically back Cho up and say, yeah, you did promise her that.
Yeah. Kind of weird.
Yeah.
But that dream was interrupted by another question mark? Was it a dream? Sorta.
He was sleeping.
Yeah. Like a fever dream, maybe? Maybe. He got upset. Only reason I'm questioning it and putting a question mark on it is because of how upset he got after the fact when he's trying to describe that it wasn't a dream. And I get where he's going with it. He's like, it was like a vision,
Yeah.
More than it
was
was
having
a dream.
Another Trelawney moment.
Yeah. Which, that's not going to get him anywhere, especially with McGonagall.
Yeah.
She's going to immediately send him to Madame Pomfrey. You need some medication.
Yeah.
So, I get him, trying to, describe it as more than just a dream, even though...
Because that's what everybody thought he was doing. Because, people like Ron found him yelling or screaming in his bed, and, they had to wake him up. So he was asleep. He was dreaming.
Yeah.
You didn't go anywhere. You were here the whole time.
Right. But Harry's a special case,
But not everybody knows the full extent of his dreams.
I know. What I'm saying, though, it's hard for me to say a dream because Harry's so adamant that it wasn't a dream.
Sure.
So in this vision, Harry is a snake. Is he...
That's what it sounds like.
Nagini? Nagini? Maybe. We don't know.
That we don't know.
No. But he's definitely a large snake.
That's what it seems like.
Slithering around down a hallway.
Yep.
And then he comes across a man who's sitting in a chair, right?
I think it sounded like he was just sitting in the hallway, kind of slumped against the wall.
Okay. It was a weird description.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll let you keep going.
Yeah. Bites the man viciously. There's blood everywhere. It's just violent. And then that's when Harry is brought out of this state that he's in.
Yeah. So a couple of details I want to touch on.
Okay. Silver robes?
So he sees the man at the end of the hallway.
Uh-huh.
And when the man realizes the snake's coming, he stands up and a silvery cloak falls off of his legs.
Oh. Okay. Like an invisibility cloak.
That's how I'm reading it.
Who has invisibility cloaks? Moody.
Couple of people, yeah.
What's his name that had a cloak from Moody who lost it?
Sturgis Podmore, yeah.
Right.
But he's in Azkaban now.
Sure.
But yeah, Moody has been loaning out his cloaks to the Order, so...
Yeah. So anybody in the Order theoretically could have their hands on one.
In theory.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that's the big thing.
Okay.
But just in some of the descriptions then, he's going along and it's written as Harry put out his tongue.
Yes.
And Harry longed to bite the man.
Right.
It wasn't the snake, it was Harry.
Right.
Which is very, very curious wording.
Yeah. Now we know he's a parcel tongue.
Yep.
So he already has a deep connection to snakes.
Yep.
But the vision definitely started out as a snake. Mm-hmm. But then as the violence started to happen, it was described as Harry. One could assume Harry as the snake. Harry internally was at least acknowledging that he was responsible for what was happening.
Yeah, because Harry put out his tongue to smell. Right. No one else does that besides snakes.
Right.
Harry as a human, as a wizard, would not do that.
I would hope.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't help him smell, that's for sure.
Yeah, so all kinds of curious things. He was sweating. Everybody thinks he's sick. He's vomiting. This was intense. This was an intense moment for him.
Yep.
And they rush off, get McGonagall to come up, and because everybody's worried about him. And he's telling her what happened, what's going on. He's mostly concerned for Ron. And all he wants to do is explain that Ron's dad, Mr. Weasley, is in trouble.
Yeah.
That the man in his vision was Mr. Weasley.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy. That just upped the ante a little bit, didn't it?
I'd say so.
McGonagall, of course, she knows that Harry's special. He's different than most kids. And if this was Neville waking up from this, she would just tell him to go back to sleep. Because this is Harry Potter, she's like, yeah, I totally believe you. Calm down. This is urgent. We need to go see Dumbledore right now. Although she didn't use Dumbledore's name. She used the headmaster.
Well, yeah. She's in front of students.
I know. It just weirds me out. I just need to hear Dumbledore's name, Matt.
Dumbledore.
We haven't seen or heard from him for a while, so it's well, what if he got fired a long time ago and there's a new headmaster? She just said the headmaster.
I think you would have heard about that.
You would think!
Yeah, she's taking him to Karkaroff.
Horrible. And then the chapter ended.
Yep.
Just like that. There we go. That's a lot to chew on before the next time I get to read, Matt.
It's true.
But, man, as awful as the middle of this reading was, with the end of the first chapter and the beginning of the second chapter, like, it was bookended by some awesome stuff going on.
I like to think so.
You know, we got Hagrid back, we got tales of his awesomeness and giant warfare, and then we got, like, young dumb kid romance, and we got Dobby being absolutely hilarious, and then this crazy fever dream. So there's so much good stuff packed into this week, and it unfortunately was just all overshadowed by how awful Dolores Umbridge is, and that sucks.
That seems to be the general consensus.
I just can't ever enjoy anything because I just think, God, she's still around, and she's still awful, and she's just making it awful for more people I like every day. It's too much to handle, Matt. You know what we need to do?
Read some emails?
Badly.
All
Desperately.
Right. All right. Well, I think we can oblige.
Okay. Even
though it was a short week, we got plenty to talk about.
Awesome.
Our first email this week comes from the other Katie.
Hi, other Katie.
Says, aloha, Matt and Josh. I nearly forgot that the episode for these chapters is being recorded early, so I'll skip the pleasantries and onto the chapters. Hagrid's back, and he doesn't look good. Like Harry says, it was pretty obvious what he and Madame Maxime were off to do for the Order. Trying to recruit giants is hard, as it turns out. I'm just glad Hagrid is mostly okay, but it's upsetting to think that the Death Eaters were able to convince the giants to join their side. Maybe one or two will remember Hagrid and Maxime and come to help the good guys?
Hopefully.
Of course, Umbridge is here to ruin the party and hate on Hagrid. She's still the worst, and is, unfortunately, smart enough to realize that someone has come to visit Hagrid moments after he arrived home. It's infuriating to see her talk down to Hagrid as though he doesn't understand English simply because he's a half-giant. And Malfoy and his cronies are playing right into her charade during the Care of Magical Creatures lesson. Also, why on earth does Umbridge need to know who Neville saw die? What a horrible thing to ask someone. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That had no relevance. Like, she asked a question, got an answer, and then it was done.
Yeah. She just enjoyed the pain.
Yep. Bringing up bad memories.
Yep.
The good news is we can talk about Thestrals now. We finally have proof that Harry wasn't imagining the creatures pulling the carriages at the start of the term. It is a bit morbid that only those that have seen someone die can see them, but somehow that makes them seem comforting to me, though I'm not sure why. Perhaps because it signifies the acceptance of death? It's a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love all of Ron's comments about his prefect duties. It's hilariously good writing. Ron did have a lot of good lines in this one.
Yeah. All overshadowed by everything else that was going on.
I know. Yeah. I also appreciate that Dobby decorated the room of requirement, and that Luna genuinely seems to like the decorations. Harry and Cho finally share a kiss, but a very awkward one. To be fair, I would have been super awkward if my crush wanted to kiss me, but was also crying about their ex. And thank goodness for Hermione being able to figure out what's going on with Harry and Cho, because Ron has absolutely zero tact.
That's true.
Of course, we can't finish this chapter on a happy note. Harry's dream/vision is absolutely terrifying. Mr. Weasley is presumably hurt and alone, and we don't get to find out what actually happened. But I guess we'll just have to wait until it's time to read the next chapter.
Yes, we will.
Yes, we'll do that together. Next email comes from Masha.
Hi, Masha.
Says, Dear Josh and Matt, Hagrid is back and injured, and Umbridge doesn't like his lesson, I guess. I like the Thestrals, even though they look spooky. Well, if you can see them. Matt, I'm not sure if that cliffhanger counts as muggle baiting.
I think it does.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, well. Maybe I'll be getting a visit from Wizard soon.
You've been guilty of muggle baiting on more than one occasion.
Josh, do you think what Harry experienced was real? Is Mr. Weasley in danger? Is he dead? What would the clock on the Burrow show?
Oh, man. Forgot about the clock. I don't think he's dead. Was it real? I don't think it already happened. I think it's more of like a vision into the potential future.
So you think Harry can see the future now?
I think he's having some Trelawney moments.
Okay.
As crazy as that woman is, like, a broken clock is wrong at least twice a day.
She might have some legitimacy.
And I think that Harry has a little seeker in him. Seer.
He definitely has a seeker in him.
Yeah, I don't think it's already happened. I hope it hasn't, at least. But I think it's potentially going to happen in the future, or will, like, hopefully be prevented from happening, something along those lines. But I don't think it's just a random nonsense dream that means nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
She finished up with, and when will you two be back? In a fortnight?
Next week.
Yeah, that's true from the time they're hearing this.
Yeah. Yeah, the release date isn't different.
Let's see. Masha then sent in a second email a couple days later after she got to listen to the podcast.
Okay.
She was one of the few that actually sent in episode 60 email early, like we asked. She says, "Hey, Josh and Matt, I was listening to the podcast right now and had to send an initial email. Please, Josh, let us know what you think of the Dobby picture."
So
I think
good.
you already have.
So good.
And now imagine trying to clean the entire tower in that outfit. I'm not sure if Dobby is really delighted about it, but then I'm no house elf.
It's true.
Yeah. I think he likes his job pretty well.
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine how the news spread among the elves that the Gryffindor Tower is full of clothes and now they're in imminent danger of accidental liberation.
All it took was just one paranoid house elf. It was just like, guys, we can't go in there. Dobby's like, I got this.
As soon as they all got back to the kitchen, it's like,
yeah,
don't go to the tower.
Dobby, we have a new position for you.
Yeah. But there's something else I need to write about. Josh, you weren't too enthusiastic about the book, and it certainly is a tough read. Atari Alex has already brought this up, but Umbridge could have walked right out of the Ministry of Truth from Orwell's 1984, a book about a totalitarian state. And this is what Umbridge is helping to install. It is terrible, and I hate to read about what she's doing to all of Hogwarts, but it's still important for me to read and feel through this. It's been said before, but we've all been there, Josh. A lot of us repeatedly. Trust the professor.
Yeah.
P.S. I like slugs.
I don't have a problem with slugs either. I have a problem with slugs being vomited. That's my issue with slugs.
All right.
I used to hang out in the redwoods in like Northern California. Used to go camping there. Sure. Giant banana slugs all over the place. Love those things. Fascinating.
Okay, when you say banana slugs, like I'm picturing slugs literally as big as banana.
Pretty close to
accurate?
It. And yellow. Yellow, light brownish. Oh yeah. Yeah. There is a college in Northern California, Fresno, somewhere, that their school mascot is the banana slug.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
better than the pretzel.
Yeah. I have nothing against slugs. I just have a problem with them exiting the human body in a forceful manner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Next email comes from, previously mentioned in the last email, Atari Alex.
Dun dun dun! What's up, Alex?
Dear Josh and Matt, feels like I just wrote you guys an email. Time flies, eh?
Hey.
Well, since I haven't listened to episode 59 yet, I guess I don't really have anything to comment on. So I'll jump straight into this week's chapters. Hagrid is back, which is great. Though Harry's mood swing from being miserable about his Quidditch ban to happy at Hagrid's return is slightly unbelievable. I know that if something that bad happened to me, I'd be in a rage for days. Though I suppose that's just the Red Lantern in me. Anywho, Hagrid gives us a lot of great details about his harrowing journey, and leaves out some very interesting ones too. And some good ideas for the inevitable Giant Wars spin-off movie.
Yes.
I also love how wizards put steak on their wounds, except that it's from a dragon. In the next chapter, we finally learn about Thestrals, which is cool, but I have a bone to pick with J.K. Rowling here. First of all, I never understood why Harry couldn't see the Thestrals when he first got to Hogwarts. He has memories of seeing his mother die, and yet they are conspicuously absent from the get-go. So maybe he was too young, or he was asleep, or he didn't have a good enough angle to see her bite the dust. Fine. Just to address that point there, I don't think he... I
mean, you'd have to actually see the person, like, take their last breath, right?
Yeah, like, I mean, well, yeah.
I mean, in theory.
The description we always... I mean, she obviously died from Avada Kedavra.
Yeah.
Because the only description I ever remember is that Harry remembers seeing a burst of green light, which that spell produces, we know.
Right.
And I think he just saw the green light. I don't think he actually saw his mother die.
Right. He heard her voice, right?
Yeah. But I don't think that counts.
No. If he looked away at the moment of her death, then that wouldn't count as seeing her die.
Yeah.
Whereas Cedric, he's right there seeing him bite the dust.
Exactly. So yeah, I've never had a problem with that.
Yeah.
But as he's going to make a point here, and a couple other people have in emails as well, there is another instance that a lot of people have taken issue with.
Okay.
So I'm guessing you probably don't remember this.
Try me, Matt.
we were all talking about it, of course, when we went through it this time. It's like, yeah, just wait till we get to this. But at the end of the last book, so end of book 4.
Yeah.
So this is after he sees Cedric die, and he's escaped the maze and so forth.
Right.
She makes specific reference to horseless carriages bringing them back to the train as they leave for the summer. Alex says J.K. Rowling does such an amazing job with her details and world building, so this is a huge blunder that is very unfortunate in that regard. But of course, because I'm me, I have to point it out.
Interesting.
So, do you remember this?
No.
Okay.
No.
You can go look it up if you want.
Okay.
But yeah, it's right at the end of the 4th book. They're leaving Hogwarts, and she's very distinct about it. Harry looks over at the carriages, and she mentions the horseless carriages. So, okay, do you have an explanation for this?
Maybe there's like a cooldown period of how long after the death it takes for you to gain the ability to see these things.
I think you're on the right track.
Maybe Cedric didn't die until later.
I'm not dead yet. No, I wouldn't go with that.
Maybe mentally he hadn't like fully wrapped his head around the fact that he saw Cedric die.
There you go. You're much closer now.
He hadn't like accepted the fact that it happened.
And that's how JK has explained it.
Oh, okay. She's actually...
yeah, I mean, as small as an issue as it seems, like, enough people have picked up on this. And because of, like Alex said, how JK does such an amazing job with her details and world building, like, I don't... Because it says horseless... Like, she knew what she was doing.
Right.
Like, she could... Like, if that was going to be a deal breaker, she could have deleted the line about horseless carriages and everything would have been just fine.
Yeah. No one would have questioned how they got back to the train station.
Like, I think that was intentional of her putting horseless carriages in there to point out the fact that Harry hadn't accepted it yet, that he couldn't see them yet. He wouldn't see them until we come back in the next book. You know she had the next book planned. You know she knew about Thestrals.
Right.
Like, it's not something she just made up in book 5. It's like, maybe we should have something pulling these carriages. Like, no, that's something she had planned.
Yeah.
So I even though it's not explained that way in the books, I don't think she's retconning anything.
Okay.
I think that's something she had planned.
Okay. I am on board with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on. Umbridge goes on to prove what a vile creature she is by treating Hagrid in pretty much the worst way imaginable. No matter how many times I read this book, I can't get over what a truly terrible character she is. Last but not least, we have Harry's dream.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the first time I remember chuckling when I read this email. I remember the first time I read this part of the book. I didn't pick up on the fact that he was supposed to be a snake. He described his body as being powerful and flexible. So I started picturing Harry as a bodybuilder.
Wasn't also like smooth though?
Then it goes on to describe him crawling on the floor. And I thought to myself, okay, this is weird, but whatever. So I put that image in my head. Then he starts biting Mr. Weasley. And after running the scene through my head and thinking of it as humorous instead of frightening as Harry finds it, I started to suspect something was amiss. As you could imagine, it really changes how the whole scene plays out. Yes.
Wow.
Bodybuilder Harry crawling on the ground, biting Mr. Weasley.
I mean, considering the dream that he had just before that one, like, it's not out of the realm of possibilities.
Yeah, I guess.
Alex.
I've never heard anyone... Yeah. Well, I guess at least admit to not, like, thinking he was a snake, right? Like, the chapter is called The Eye of the Snake.
Yeah.
I mean, we hadn't gotten... We're 3 pages from the end of the chapter, and we haven't talked about a snake yet, or an eye, for that matter.
Right.
Like, it's got to be coming up here.
Yeah.
But, yeah. His body felt smooth, powerful, and flexible. He was gliding between shining metal bars across dark cold stone. Yeah. Yeah, he was flat against the floor, sliding along on his belly. Like, yeah. Wow. Thank you for that, Alex. Thank you.
Yeah. Good stuff there.
Next email then comes from one of our headmistresses, Mel B.
Hi, Mel B.
Says, hey, Josh and Matt. After the awfulness of Chapter 19, it's great to have Hagrid back and telling his tale. It's an awesome story. But, of course, things can't go as planned. Umbridge is everywhere. I think everyone agrees with me. She is horrible and loathsome. If I were headmistress at this time, she would have met a rather unfortunate accident.
Wow.
Especially after how she behaved in Hagrid's class.
Yeah.
I am seething.
Yeah.
But moving on for a moment to Dobby. Until my last read-through, I never realized exactly how stalkerish Dobby is. It's endearing, don't get me wrong, but it's also super, super stalkerish. Have a Harry Christmas.
Yeah, but that's Dobby.
But that's the... You see, and everybody writes Dobby off. It's like, but that's Dobby. That's not an excuse.
Okay, it's hard to be stalkerish.
He is ridiculously obsessed with
Mr. Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he wasn't a house elf,
yeah,
like if that was another student,
right,
this would be super, super creepy.
But it's not. It's a house elf.
Shouldn't it be allowed? No.
If it was another student, he'd be creeping around Harry Potter during the waking hours all the time and like following him to each class and everything like that. Dobby has to operate in the darkness when everybody is asleep. He can only do what he can to get Mr. Harry Potter's attention You know,
I would say because he's a house elf, what makes you think he's not creeping around during the daytime too?
oh, he probably is, but then again, he also is kind of busy sometimes too.
Well, if he does all his cleaning at night, we're assuming.
Yeah.
What do you think he does during the day?
Cook. Manning the waffle iron.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
Yeah.
All right, but the headline of this reading is, of course, Harry's dream. It's certainly not the first time that Harry has experienced dreams like this. He dreamed about Quirrell's turban talking to him in the first book. In the last book, he was dreaming about Voldemort and Wormtail. Now he dreams about a snake attacking Mr. Weasley. So, did it really happen? Is Arthur alive or dead? What will happen to Harry?
Mr. Weasley is alive. Everybody could calm down.
You were sure Hagrid was fine, too.
He was!
Well,
he made it back in one piece. I mean, there's pieces
might be
missing from
a few
him.
Pieces, yeah.
But he's still one piece.
Okay.
And he built some character along the way.
That character.
Because he needed more.
Yeah. Next email comes from Katie.
Hi, Katie.
Says, hey guys, this email may be longer than usual because I have a lot of feelings. That was some story Hagrid had to tell. What do we think? Which side will the Giants choose?
In the end or immediately?
In the end.
I think Giants are going to end up being on the good side.
All right.
Yeah.
And what's with Hagrid's injuries?
That's a good question.
Yeah. You haven't given us any theories on those, have you?
I have no clue. I don't feel like there was any hints at all. Nothing.
Okay.
He's very coy about it. It's almost like he's embarrassed. I feel like if he was attacked by something bigger or stronger, he would have no problem talking about it or telling people about it, especially the trio. So I feel like it's something that he's not too proud of. And I don't think it's like him having a couple too many ales and stumbling out of the pub and falling down some stairs type of embarrassment. Yeah. You know, he got roughed up by something or someone that he's kind of ashamed by.
Fair enough.
So, I don't know. I don't know yet.
So now we know about Thestrals, and we know who can see them. Does this reveal hidden depths to certain characters? Possibly.
Yeah. I feel like that Slytherin boy was thrown in there just so it didn't feel like it was just Neville and Harry.
Yeah.
Or any of the other Gryffindors who we all kind of know by name and have some attachment to.
Yeah.
Like, that Slytherin boy is just a throwaway character.
And now we come to Umbridge's inspection of Hagrid. The main, very personal reason I despise Umbridge and all she stands for. The way she attempts to dehumanize Hagrid by talking loudly and saying unkind things, where he can clearly hear them, is familiar to me as a person with a disability. This has happened to me before, even as recently as last week, when a server at the restaurant asked my sister what I would like for dinner, rather than talking to me personally. Now, I'm not saying all these people have malicious intentions like Umbridge, but their ignorance does need to be addressed, so they don't repeat these behaviors in the future. I explain to them why their attitude hurts me, using all the Hufflepuff patience I can, and they usually get it, and we're fine. But Umbridge is doing this to Hagrid, my Hagrid, on purpose. Nope. Not in a million times, no. In closing, I have a lot of fresh blueberries, and I'm going to make muffins. This has nothing to do with anything in these chapters, but I didn't want to end my email on an angry rant.
That sounds delicious.
Blueberry muffins, there you go.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with blueberry muffins. I hope they turned out well. Let us know.
There you go. Homework. Next email comes from Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Says, hey guys, hold your hippogriffs.
Holding.
Just a quick note from what I've heard on the last podcast when you were talking about the house ghosts. I'm almost 100% certain that we have gotten mention of the Ravenclaw house ghost, which he names here in the first book, and I'm pretty sure at least a quick mention in one of the other books. We certainly did not spend as much time with her as the other ghosts in Hogwarts, though. I looked into this some more, especially since you brought it up, and I'm holding to it that we did not get her name.
Ooh, it's a her, huh?
JK even admits that she mentions her in the first book.
Uh-huh.
But let's see. How is it phrased here? JK has stated that the ghost appeared briefly in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. It is believed that this passage refers to her. Harry and Ron passed the ghost of a tall witch gliding in the opposite direction, but saw no one else. That's the only reference.
Man, I should read that book.
It wouldn't help you. That's literally the only reference.
Yeah, but I feel like there's an earlier book that we haven't read yet that I should probably get into.
Maybe not. So yeah, I am sticking to it that she has not been named yet.
Okay.
I think she may have actually appeared in one of the movies.
Oh, maybe that's where Joe might be remembering it.
But still not by name.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a weird situation, but general consensus from what I can find is that she is not named until later.
Okay.
So,
all right.
I'm going to stick to that.
Sure.
Now on to these chapters. Can I just mention the first time we're seeing Hagrid in this story is over 400 pages into this book. That's almost the entire Prisoner of Azkaban.
Man, that's perspective.
Yeah. Hagrid's story is pretty incredible. A month just to get there? There's another idea for fanfic, Josh.
Hagrid's Journey?
Yeah?
Yeah, the long
You can write that one?
I'm totally focusing on his encounters with various creatures in pubs, so get ready for that.
As he moves on to arguing with the vampire at a pub in Minsk. So random, so ridiculous, so awesome. I appreciate the detail in how Dumbledore instructed them to approach the Gurg with a gift. That is the true protocol if you visit a king or leader of foreign land. You're supposed to bring a gift. Sure. So I like how JK incorporated that.
I liked it more because it was like, it wasn't just like the aspect of giving the gift. It was the building the trust, building the relationship, and
yeah, it's
also
how you give the gift. Yeah,
impressing them with the magic and proving that like wizards can give them magic without using magic on them. Which turned out to be false anyway because Hagrid ended up using magic on him and blah 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 blah. But still, you know.
Well, Maxime did, but yeah.
That's whoever.
Yeah. But yeah, like I liked how Hagrid always kind of emphasized that it was a good gift.
Yeah.
Like he brought them good gifts and like they thought they were good gifts.
Yep. Thoughtful.
Yeah. Never did I expect the story to turn out the way it did. What are the odds of after giving two gifts there'd be a fight where the Gurg dies and a new Gurg is established? I give Hagrid a lot of credit for trying to win over the new Gurg despite knowing it wouldn't work. Why does she always have to show up? How did she know he was back? Doesn't she sleep? Maybe she's a vampire.
Yes.
You and Joe.
Joe and I are on the same page here. I don't know what it is, but I mean, we are one and the same.
Like, we didn't even put the notes out.
No.
Before
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well done, Joe. Well done. Thestrals. Josh, you were so close 2 episodes ago from figuring this out, or so I thought. And props to Matt for weaving so precisely through that Thestral conversation. You even asked, what animals are at Hogwarts that we don't really know about yet? And I thought for sure you'd put 2 and 2 together. But you totally forgot the winged horses that only Harry and Luna saw pull the carriages. Not that we need more reasons to hate Umbridge, but she made a note on Hagrid for using crude sign language. But then she did the same thing to him when she told him how she was going to walk among the students. It's true.
Yeah.
Harry using Luna's Nargles line right before kissing Cho made me think that maybe Harry deep down had some sort of thing for Luna. I don't know if Luna would ever completely wow someone, but she seems the type that could grow on you if you spend enough time with her.
I think she just resonates with people in weird ways.
Yeah.
You know?
Sometimes quirky is a good thing.
Yeah.
We've seen Harry become the snake in a dream before, but this time it seems like Harry has a bit more of a connection with it. And the fact that it was Ron's dad, I hope he's okay.
Yeah. We all do.
Yeah. Next email then comes from our other headmistress, Marissa.
What's up, Marissa?
Says, hi, Josh and Mitt. We've got lots of Hagrid in this chapter. I wasn't surprised that they went out there right after he got home. They've only been talking about him being gone since they got back to school. Well, I'm glad he's back. I find the description of his haversack being able to hold several small children disturbing.
Yeah.
That's an interesting description. I believe we talked before about how nosy Harry is, too much for his own good, and it seems that Hagrid agrees. And giants are big. Who knew? I want a Josh fanfic about Hagrid's journey to the giants. Ministry stalkers, trolls, and vampires, oh my.
That's like the title of it. I mean, there's so much more that you could get into.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there is, and that's what people want to hear about.
Also, we need somebody to like keep track of all the different fanfics I say I'm going to write.
It's true.
Because nobody could hold my feet to the fire if I don't ever remember what I say.
Yeah. Just list of fanfic.
Just throwing that out there.
Hagrid likes to assume the best in everyone until they prove otherwise, but I think he should have listened to Hermione on this one. They know better than he does what a horrible old toad she is, but Hagrid is Hagrid, and there's not much he can do to convince him if his mind is set.
To be fair, I feel like everybody in this community kind of warned me how awful this character was going to be. Did I listen?
Nope.
Did I believe anybody? Did I put any stock into
extent.
it? No. Yeah. Like, I needed to find out for myself.
Yeah,
Rita Skeeter.
Kind of like
everybody.
Yeah, you dislike her, but we'll see.
So I'm kind of with Hagrid on this one. Like, sure, should he have believed Hermione? Yeah, probably. But come on now, like,
innocent until proven guilty.
Also, like, how could you like fathom somebody being that evil and that awful working at Hogwarts, where Dumbledore is still headmaster?
Yep. Yeah, like we said, he's been gone for a long time. He has no idea what's going on, how much the ministry is interfering, and all that type of thing.
Right.
He hasn't been around for that. Like he doesn't know Harry's story from the summer with the Dementors. Why is he going to know anything else that's been going on?
Yeah.
Thestrals, finally. Now for my question, which I've heard on several different Harry Potter fan pages, but want Josh's opinion on as well as Matt's.
Cool.
This is, I believe, what we talked about with Alex as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
If they can only be seen by those who have seen death, why is Harry just seeing them? Even if we assume that he didn't see his mom die or he was too young, why didn't he see them at the end of year 4 after Cedric died? They talked about waiting for the carriages at the end of the book. My explanation is that Harry was in shock and hadn't fully comprehended what happened.
Yeah.
There you go.
Maybe the carriages were there when Harry got into them, but the Thestrals weren't mounted to them yet. And then
Harry was indeed looking at horses' carriages. Hagrid hadn't brought out the Thestrals yet because he was getting ready to leave.
Exactly. Then he gets in the carriage and he's like, whoa, this is too much. I'm just going to lay down. And he lay down, and then the Thestrals come out. They mount up. Nobody's the wiser to him. Harry thinks it's still, horseless carriages being transported, but he's not looking directly at them. He's just like, He's out. He's zoning out.
Sure.
It's possible, folks.
Another theory.
Yeah.
I have no more words for Umbridge. Just the absolute lowest human being in the books, including Voldy. Oh no! No hats for the house elves? The horror! I think it's best that Harry keeps his findings about them to himself. I fear Hermione would go off the deep end if she ever found out Dobby was hoarding them all.
Oh, her and Dobby are going to have quite the discussion one of these days.
Oh yeah, that's going to be good. Oh, Dobby, what nice decorations you put up. So festive. And Nargles? Luna is the best. Go, Ginny.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Yep.
Yeah.
Go away, Zach. No one wants your whining. I think we're okay with that. Although, when it allows for Fred and George to throw out one-liners, I'm okay with it.
Sure.
Poor Harry having to hear his crush talk about her dead boyfriend when all he wanted was a Merry Christmas. And then she approaches him under the mistletoe. And cutscene. Never really understood that. I mean, it does get discussed with Ron and Hermione, just not sure why she cuts it there. Maybe it's more kid-friendly? I don't know. And why does Ron find it so hilarious? And then, just because you've got the emotional range of a teaspoon doesn't mean we all have. Hermione is so sassy and straightforward, and it's awesome.
I think it was played out that way because them getting the information out of Harry was more intriguing to the reader if we didn't already know what happened as well.
I would agree.
It would have been just like rehashing what just happened a paragraph ago.
Yep. She could have said they kissed, it lasted, it was wet, and then go find Ron and Hermione, or we can leave us wondering for. I mean, I think it was just a new paragraph. It's not like it's like even like the next chapter. It's we got to it right away.
Yep.
But yeah, it made more sense. Like people love that interact. Like you said, that just because you got the emotional range of teaspoon, like I don't think we would have made it to that point if she just told us they kissed on the other page.
Right.
Like that conversation is what led up to that.
Yep.
So like that was a good conversation, hilarious conversation that many people have commented on, and I don't think it would have happened if she told us right away.
Right.
Yeah. The dream Harry has creeps me out. Was this another Voldy mood connection? Doesn't seem that way. How could it be Voldy if the dream was from a snake's perspective? Was it really Harry that did this, or was it just a vision? So many questions. And then the chapter ends.
Lots of questions. I mean, if it was Voldy's snake, then...
Yeah, but we don't know that for sure either.
No, I'm just saying. I'm spitballing here.
Yeah.
The connection is easy to make at that point.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Next email comes from Chelsea.
Hi, Chelsea.
It says, hey guys, my emails are starting to become hit or miss for this book. I'm a little behind on the reading, so I'm writing this email as I read through this week's chapters. I think I have such a hard time staying caught up because I hate Umbridge that much.
Yeah.
Josh, I'm so sorry we're making you spend so much time with this woman. And it just got worse that I had to read about her hammering down on our Hagrid. I'm excited to hear the words that you have for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, I'm sure Josh is happy that Hagrid is back. And what a chapter that was. It's always nice to have story time with Hagrid, especially when it's about giants. Josh, what's your theory about how Hagrid got beat up and why it's taken him so long to come back?
I don't know. I'm going to have to work on this. Look, I'm going to be camping. I'm going to be out in nature. I'm going to be unplugged. I'm going to have plenty of time for some Harry Potter, Muggle theory, fever dreams.
Hagrid theories.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how Harry uses his summer story against Hagrid. Well, knowing that Hagrid is so overprotective over Harry, he will give up any information to know what happened with the Dementors and the Ministry trial. I can literally see his teenage attitude being used when he says, "You tell me your story, I'll tell you mine."
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yep.
That's pretty much how it went. Yeah. I'm really surprised that Ron didn't give Fred and George detention for throwing snowballs at the window. I don't care if it's a sibling, but if I had that power, I would use it against them all the time, especially if they were throwing snowballs at me. Yes. Yeah. Like, you would want to use it against them, but I have always kind of thought that Ron thinks they're a lost cause, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to listen to him.
No.
Or even if he does give him detention, then they're just going to pick on him more.
Just get through this year.
Yeah. They'll be gone.
Yep.
Ginny coming on in The Seeker. Heck yes. It makes me love her character more and more.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how she does.
It'll be interesting, that's for sure. We haven't really seen... Well, did she play at the Weasleys?
Yeah, she did.
I think she was out there with them.
Yeah.
She says, I live in a really small town called Newport, Ohio. It's about 10 to 15 minutes from the bigger town we go to for shopping, eating, and such. That's called Marietta.
Okay.
So whenever I read about Cho's friend or hear you guys say her name, it's very weird for me to think of Marietta as a person and not my nice little town on the river.
I mean, at this point, we know as much about one Marietta as we do the other. So
we probably know more about the city now.
That's true.
It's 10 to 15 minutes from Newport, and it's bigger, and you can go shopping and eating there. Yeah. And it's on the river.
And it's on the river, yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
I know her name is Mariette, and she hangs out with Cho a lot.
And she has curly hair.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it.
Poor Harry. He goes from kissing the girl he's crushing on, which is usually the highlight of a teenager's life, to having a horrible nightmare, which may or may not be real. Good luck, Josh. Hopefully you don't have the emotional range of a teaspoon like Ron. One of the best Hermione quotes in the series. These boys would simply not survive without Hermione.
That's true.
Yeah. P.S. Josh, you thought the last episode you left on was cliffhanger. From what I understand, you're going on a trip or something to be busy. So you probably will have to wait even longer to find out what's happened. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to get resolved right away. I wouldn't put it past JK to milk this a little bit longer.
We'll find out sooner or later.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, Matt, as soon as we're done recording here tonight, I could read.
You could. I've been telling you that for months, but you never do.
Could you imagine how bad I would be on next week's show if I read immediately after recording this and then tried to remember?
Waited 10 days.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what
We'd be
happened?
talking about a completely different book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be bad, folks. I do this
Next
for you.
Email comes from Kim.
Hi, Kim.
Says, hi guys, no time for snoozing with these chapters. Seems like the story has begun in the most horrible way. Hagrid's tale is a great chapter. Mm-hmm. JK could have skipped over it in a couple of paragraphs, but I'm so pleased that she didn't. I enjoyed reading about the Giants. Wouldn't want to come across one, but interesting all the same. Merlin's beard. Now Hermione is going skiing. Is she crazy? She may be planning her holiday well away from where these giants are, but how do we know they aren't traveling to join Voldemort? After hearing about the human bone necklace and mountaineering accidents, I would stay well away.
Yeah, I think the giants are too wrapped up in fighting themselves than traveling that far distance.
I did appreciate, though, another one of those. I mean, not only does she blame them for mountaineering accidents, like that's when muggles get too close,
right?
But like then during the night they were snoring and it caused an avalanche.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's how these things happen. Okay,
it all makes sense now.
Yeah. I'm very concerned, however, with Hagrid's wounds, and more so about the dodgy first aid practices at Hogwarts. Anything that is raw, oozing, green, and even worse, come out of a dog's mouth. is not compatible with wound healing.
Well, that's why Hagrid isn't in charge of first aid being administered at Hogwarts.
I hope he seeks out help soon. I'm beginning to understand why Madame Pomfrey comes across as a bit stern. She must despair at the attempts the students and staff to fix their own illnesses and injuries. Yeah. Like, if Hagrid hadn't just gotten back, like, I would have said, that's the first thing he should. Like, it still doesn't sound like he wants to go to Madame Pomfrey.
Right.
But I still think he should.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we've always said about, we said that about Harry. We kind of said it about, was it Katie Bell who had the nosebleed during Quidditch practice?
Yep.
Yeah. Just go to Madame Pomfrey. She'll fix it in an instant. You can go back to whatever you're doing. But, yeah. No one does. No one does. Makes Madame Pomfrey's job that much tougher. I'm sure you will have discussed the Thestrals in depth, so I'll only comment that it's frustrating that we have to have this scene spoiled by Umbridge. Many others have expressed their hate and rage at her character, but it's only when we get to this chapter that she annoys and enrages me. I don't like her medieval detentions, but Harry moves on from it, and I suppose that's why I did too. Her inspection so far I always put down to Fudge interfering. But now it's Hagrid, and now it's personal.
Yeah.
She's wearing green, which we had mentioned before in the last chapter too. I believe this is deliberate. The pink cardigan is gone, and she's showing us her true colors.
Slytherin.
I always think about that too. Like, she's always described as a toad, and then she starts wearing green. It's like, it fits.
Or, Fudge wears green too, so maybe it's just in support of Fudge.
That's true.
Yeah.
She's insulting and condescending towards Hagrid and makes no effort to hide her feelings or her intentions to get rid of him. She goes on to question Neville and is blunt and cold. I'm concerned for Hagrid not only because of her prejudice against what she calls half-breeds, but because she seems to know where he has been. This isn't just about him as a teacher. I think it's also about Dumbledore. The next chapter starts off with some light relief. I like the Harry baubles. Hermione is becoming the Gryffindor agony aunt. Full of wise romantic advice for everyone.
Sure.
The description of the snake attack is an assault of all the senses, written so well you can't help but get caught up in it. It's not till the end when it's revealed that it's Mr. Weasley that the horror sets in. You expect the Order members at some point to be in danger, but I never expected this. Mr. Weasley is so kind and gentle, and ending this chapter at this point is heart-stopping. Because this chapter ends so badly, I thought I would quickly mention something lighter from chapter 20 I hadn't picked up on previous reads. Hagrid has a new phrase. Hold your hippogriffs. Well, which we hadn't come across before. Josh, your challenge is to use that in general conversation sometime over the next fortnight.
Done.
All right.
Hold your hippogriffs, folks.
Accepted. All right. Next email comes from Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin.
Says, hey, Josh and Matt. I think it was totally worth the wait for Hagrid to come back halfway through the book. Our trio certainly can't wait either. Before we get to Hagrid's hut, however, a quick question about the ghosts. Why is it always nearly headless Nick that we see when they creep out after hours? Why don't we see the Fat Friar or the nameless Ravenclaw ghost? I think in this book alone, we've seen Nick warn Harry twice about Peeves and or Filch, and it's a trend in the other books as well. Don't get me wrong, I love our almost beheaded Lord, but I want some friendly fat friar too.
Yeah, I feel like nearly headless Nick is just... He's still kind of bitter about everything, and I don't know.
Yeah. I think that's kind of Nick's personality now, at least as a ghost. Like, he's always kind of just wandering around.
Yeah.
Like, he's always just meandering the hallways. Like, that's what he does.
Yeah.
And to top it off, then I think the other part of it is that since he is the Gryffindor house ghost,
right?
I think we see him a lot when they're like sneaking out of the Gryffindor tower.
Sure.
So he's probably in the general vicinity.
Yep.
That might be part of it. On to Hagrid. I've really missed our beloved Care of Magical Creatures professor. His love and appreciation for animals, minus the acromantulas, is such an endearing quality. Yet we see him using dragon meat as an ice pack. I guess I'm just as surprised he's not concerned that Norbert's cousin might be on his face. You guys mentioned last week that The Adventures of Luna Lovegood would make an excellent book, and I certainly agree. But boy, do I want Hagrid's story about escaping mad trolls and arguing with vampires.
Yes.
He'll write his own story one day, and I bet you the Minsk pub vampire outsells the professor who shall not be named Voyages with Vampires. And then, just when you really don't want her to show up, she does.
Yeah.
What a nasty little habit. Can one of your headmistresses decree a ban on unwanted visitors? Hagrid holds his own somewhat, and at least our trio doesn't get a month's worth of detention for being out of bed. On the troubling side, Hagrid seems rather unfazed by her, or at least her influence over his lessons. Speaking of inspected lessons, it isn't so nice for Umbridge to choose to inspect the 5th year's lessons rather than the other years. How convenient for us readers. Or maybe she wants maximum exposure to Harry to rile him up even more and give him more opportunities to rake in the tensions. I sense entrapment.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an interesting words. Wow. Observation. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it. She has been, I think, in all of their classes now. Although, no, Fred and George, I think, saw one first. No, that was Moody back in the other book.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, like I think she's been in all their classes. So the only other
all the classes that we know that they go to, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only other explanation I can think of is that that wouldn't really make sense either with the questions she's been asking.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna say, she checks out Snape's first year class, Snape's second year class, and to see what they're teaching at the different grade levels. So yeah, she hits all of the 5th year classes as well.
Right.
But yeah, that wouldn't really, like, she wouldn't have to ask. Like we've heard her ask multiple teachers, like, "And how long have you been here?" That type of thing. So it's like, chances are she's asked that before in like the first class she visited.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, honestly, it's probably just for the reader's sake, I think.
Sure.
Thestrals, finally. I can't tell you how many people have literally just wrote Thestrals finally. Anyway, we have heard mentioned and seen them multiple times, and I have to say I'm surprised that our dear Muggle, someone who is still convinced Crookshanks isn't just a cat, and who thinks Cho has an imaginary friend, wasn't more suspicious of the Darkwing's sometimes invisible creatures. Quick sidebar on Thestrals. This is something I was going to bring up too, and I forgot about.
Okay.
Going back to the end of the first book, when Dumbledore was called away to the Ministry, he says that he must have crossed Hermione's owl in the air. So back, we did actually talk about this, because I think maybe Alex or someone brought it up in an email, like how weird it seems to think about Dumbledore riding on a broom.
Sure, yeah.
And at that time,
traveling in general.
Yeah. But at that time, like, I couldn't bring up anything else. But they specifically mentioned in this chapter when they introduced the Thestrals. Do you remember this?
No.
Hagrid was telling us like let's see. I know I marked this here. So he says, yeah, they're not unlucky. They're dead clever and useful. Of course, this lot don't get a lot of work. It's mainly just pulling the school carriages, unless Dumbledore's taking a long journey and don't want to apparate.
Oh, right, yeah.
So, that makes you think Thestrals still fly, and all it said in the first book was that he was flying, or must have flown past it, or something like that.
Right.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that he had to be, like, back in the first book, that's the only thing we knew that really flew, that transported wizards.
Sure.
Since then, obviously, we've seen other things. I mean, we've seen enchanted cars, which I don't think Dumbledore was using. But it specifically says here that Dumbledore likes to use the Thestral sometimes.
Yeah.
So I can see that. Maybe that's what they were talking about.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that.
Now, once again, that's going to be one of those things. Did J.K. have that planned all the way back in the first book?
That's kind of creepy, if so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she says, yeah, after learning about Thestrals and knowing how long it would take to fly a broomstick to London, I always pictured him on Thestrals. Now the question is he able to see them? Or is he flying what feels to him like an imaginary horse? Yeah. I mean, I could see Dumbledore just understanding them. Right. And, I mean, if he has to, Hagrid's there. It's like, Hagrid, I need to borrow one of your Thestrals.
Sure.
Can you call him for me? Let me know where it is.
I mean, it'd probably be easier to ride one if you weren't having to look at how creepy they are.
I guess the hardest part is, like, getting on it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like you said,
yeah.
Hagrid's there to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yep.
JK, not much.
That's who.
Yes. Not much to say about the old Toad, but that she's horrible. Absolutely terrible. After such awful Umbridge bits, it was nice to see some more Ron commentary with their onerous prefect duties. Snotrag is my new favorite term to use against any rude cockroach whose surname is Malfoy. Back to Dobby. Yes. In a not too popular way, unless you're Luna, and let's face it, who wouldn't want to be? He dazzles the room requirement with some creative decorations. To be honest, have a very hairy Christmas isn't the worst Christmas pun I've heard.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Even more than I enjoy Dobby, I love our DA bits. J.K. writes so well that I feel Harry's misery to an exhausting point. These light bits of light help to balance the crippling unease that's creeping into Hogwarts. In addition, I absolutely love seeing Harry take after Lupin in his teaching style. Rather than shouting constant vigilance or simply bragging about his deeds, he provides constant encouragement and demonstrations. And we see it working wonders on Neville and the others. As for wishing someone a happy Christmas, a sloppy, teary kiss seems a bit far down the rungs. But J.K. captures the awkwardness of teenage crushes in an altogether painful way. Hermione really comes in handy for these pathetically dim-witted boys. Just because you have an emotional range of a teaspoon is my absolute favorite Hermione phrase.
Yeah.
Leave it to Matt to find another cliffhanger chapter. Unfortunately, this one is much less pleasant than last week's. Any theories, Josh, on whether Harry's dream is all real? And if so, how did Harry see it?
I think we covered that, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
And one last email this week from our friend Wetzel.
Hi, Wetzel.
Who was our winner last week, I believe.
That's right.
Won himself a coin.
Uh-huh.
Very short email. Don't you just love Umbridge? Isn't she your favorite teacher ever?
Stop email. Just...
That's the end of the email, don't worry.
Wetzel. Wetzel's trolling us.
Just a little bit.
No. Nobody likes Umbridge. Nobody at all.
Nobody.
I hope not. So, I don't want to know those people. Let's put it that way. Some awesome emails, you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You, even with an early recording schedule, you guys came through in the clutch and were able to get those emails in on time, thus proving that no one ever has a reason to send in an email so late that we get it as we're finishing recording the show.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't get any emails while recording today.
Yeah, look at that. You guys know what to do. You can do it. No, I'm just kidding. Whenever you guys want to send in emails, that's totally fine.
Yep.
We love them all the same. This has been a fun week, Matt. Good reading. I'm going to be taking a nice little vacay, though, and, unplug and just enjoy some nature and that kind of thing. But this was good. This is a good way to go out, Got some reading in, got the recording done before leaving. No stress, no pressure. We're good to go for next week.
Yep.
Speaking of next week, we're going to have a giveaway in the next episode, episode 61, which will be releasing who knows when from where we're at now. It's too far down the road in the calendar.
It's releasing a week from this episode.
Yeah.
Whenever this episode releases.
Yeah, there you go.
That schedule hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
This episode is releasing August 23rd. The 61st episode will be releasing the 30th, but we'll be recording the 28th, etc., etc. We're going to have another giveaway, because that's what we do here. Matt, what are we giving away this time?
We are giving away... Well, as I mentioned to you, we had, unfortunately, another Death Eater sighting.
We did.
So, to commemorate that joyous occasion, we are giving away a Dark Marked pin. It's PIN.
Thank you for the clarification, Matt.
You're welcome.
Now we have to come up with a way for people to enter this giveaway.
We do.
Yes.
Your favorite part?
My favorite part, indeed. Let's do this. Let's have everybody stop thinking about how hot it is and the warm weather that we're having this summer, and let's have Christmas in August. Okay.
Okay.
I want everybody to email Matt, talesfromgodric's@gmail.com. We got to have a Harry Christmas pun with the Dobby decorations, right?
We did.
If you folks were decorating for a Harry Potter themed Christmas celebration, what would you do? How would you decorate? Bring out your inner Dobby here and decorate for a Harry Potter Christmas celebration.
All right.
Okay. Now, look, you don't even have to celebrate Christmas to participate in this giveaway. Just if you're Dobby, you're decorating for the holidays, whatever holidays they may be.
If you're Dobby and you're decorating the room requirement for Mr. Harry Potter.
There we go. For the holiday season.
For the holiday season.
What would you do? You could draw pictures. You could write it out. You can make 3D models. You could do.
if we get 3D models, that
you can actually decorate a room and take a picture of it.
There might be bonus prizes this week.
Yeah, if people go that creative with it, we're definitely gonna have a chat. So have fun with that. Again, talesfromgodric's@gmail.com. Send those in before episode 61. One lucky winner will walk away with that Death Eater pin that you could do whatever you want with. Like, you don't even have to keep it. You could toss it in the river. That's next to Marietta. There we go. That river.
That one.
Matt, thank you for another wonderful show, another wonderful episode. This has been fun.
It has.
You can find me personally on Twitter, but not for a little bit because I'm unplugging. At The Noise, that's with a Y. Be sure to follow the show on Twitter at Tales from GH. You can follow the Instagram account, Tales from Godric's Hollow. You can check out the website where all the awesome things, including the new shop, can be found. talesfromgodricshollow.com. And if you'd like to support us in what we're doing here for you guys, this awesome, fantastic, amazing community, you could do so over on Patreon, patreon.com/Tales from Godric's Hollow. Matt, where can the people get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can always find me personally on Twitter at As a Matter of Matt. One quick note about the shop, because I don't think I've mentioned this on the site yet, or on the show yet. Actually, two things. One, until the end of this month, end of August, if you use the discount code at the checkout, Accio Savings, you can get 20% off your order.
Ooh.
And then one of the other items that's up there are the DA coins, I'm calling them.
Mm-hmm.
They are only going to be up there for, I think I determined till September 15th,
right,
is when I'm going to take them down. And then they will go back to being our Patreon exclusive coins. So there will still be a way to get them, but I'm only going to put them up on the shop for the first month. So if you want to get your hands on one of those sooner rather than later. Otherwise, any other emails you need to send in this week, whether it be for a giveaway, for the next episode, if you want to get those in bright and early, you're more than welcome to. In any case, the email address is always open, talesfromgodricshollow@gmail.com. And one last thing for you, Josh.
Yes.
Lockhart.
I was hoping you'd forget. I really was. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate that. I hope everybody enjoys, or I guess by the time they're listening to this, already did enjoy the Total Eclipse 2017. More importantly, though, I hope everybody out there are just the great people that we know you are. Just be good to one another out there. We need more kindness in this world right now. So, make this community proud. That's all I could ask. I'm off. Goodbye, folks. I love you all. Till next week's episode. Muggle out.
Mischief managed.